free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Samsung TV Plus, channel 1177. Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's April 9th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Name Yourself Day. Normally, I go by CJ Papa, but today, I'll be Anchorman. Studies have shown that there are links between a person's name and their personalities. It's called the Dorian Gray effect, named for Oscar Wilde's novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Also on this day, it was wedding bells for the British royal family in 2005 as Prince Charles married Camilla Parker Bowles. It was his second marriage. He was first wed to Lady Diana Spencer, later known as Princess Diana. In 1967, the best-selling airplane in history had its maiden voyage, the Boeing 737, a short to medium-range plane. And in 1950, comedian Bob Hope made his first ever television appearance on the Star-Spangled Review. Previously, Hope had resisted being on TV, saying radio was a softer racket. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call CrossCom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, CrossCom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with CrossCom.
Call CrossCom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call CrossCom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. CrossCom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call CrossCom.
CrossCom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with CrossCom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrossComPublicAdjusters.com.
It's Dr. David Colbaba.
Hey guys, it's not enough to manipulate your testosterone by getting those shots. Did you ever stop to ask, why is my testosterone level so low anyway? Well, if you're a Y guy like me, I've got something for you to think about. Hormone levels get skewed not with age. Hormones get skewed by poor lifestyle habits. Our male hormone test can help us find the why behind your male hormone challenges. So give us a call and get your male hormone test today. Pumping hormones into your bloodstream is not the answer, not without the many health risks associated. Stop tampering with your hormones, because if you don't, you'll probably live long enough to regret it. So from one Y guy to another Y guy, let's get her done the right way, the only way, taking more natural steps towards healthy hormone balance and performance today. It's our male hormone test. No blood, just spit. Call 800-794-1855. That's 800-794-1855. It's HealthQuest Radio with me, Dr. David Colbaba, this Saturday morning at 11.
Mike Lindell and his employees want to personally thank you for your continued support of MyPillow. They have a big allotment of their bed sheets that were earmarked for the box stores this spring. Well, they did it again. The box stores didn't come through, so they're going to pass the savings on to you. Now there is no middleman, so you're going to get wholesale prices on their famous Giza Dreams and Percale bed sheets. Giza Dream queen size normally $139.98. Your wholesale price $69.99. King size only $79.99. Percale queen size normally $89.98. Your wholesale price $29.98. King size only $34.98. So go to mypillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201. Free shipping options available. This allotment won't last long. When they're gone, they're gone. So remember, go to mypillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to get these amazing wholesale offers.
If you're hiding your smile because of missing teeth, are experiencing pain due to incoming wisdom teeth or a misaligned jaw, Midland Oral Surgery and Implant Centers can change your life. Experts in the fields of oral and maxillofacial surgery, anesthesia, and dental implantology, the doctors at Midland Oral Surgery are committed to providing compassionate care in a calm and relaxing environment. Dental implants, bone grafting, removing wisdom teeth, surgical management of the hard and soft tissues of the facial region, including sedation dentistry, so you can improve your smile in a painless, pleasant, and stress-free manner. With state-of-the-art CT imaging equipment, Midland Oral Surgery and Implant Centers have unparalleled diagnostic and treatment capabilities, proudly serving Southwest Chicago and its suburbs for over 50 years. Make an appointment to discuss a pain-free solution for your smile. Locations in Frankfort, Tinley Park, Oak Lawn, and Western Springs. Learn more about the doctors and procedures at midlandoms.com. That's midlandoms.com.
So how's the separation going? Are you guys able to work things out?
No. I think we're headed for divorce.
That sucks. Gonna be an expensive legal battle?
Well, no, that's one thing we agree on, actually. Arbitration.
Arbitration? Like mediation?
Sort of, but better. We'll have a firm decision.
Oh, that's easier. Who's your arbitrator?
Bert Hochberg.
That attorney at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck?
Yeah, senior partner. Comes highly recommended.
Are you facing divorce or a family law issue? Burton S. Hochberg offers arbitration services, a dispute resolution process that will save you time, money, and the complexity of litigation. Let Burton hear and resolve your claims with choices that best suit you and yours. To discuss, call Bert directly. Or even better, have your attorney call Bert at 773-255-6150. That's 773-255-6150. Again, 773-255-6150. No one knows arbitration like Bert Hochberg. Why go through a difficult divorce? Call Bert at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck, Chicago's preeminent family law firm since 1981.
Maha starts with Vyrogo, making America healthy again. With the worst flu season in years, you need an immune system boost. The stronger your immune system, the stronger your body fights and defends against So get Vyrogo. Vyrogo Immune Enhancement Support is a unique blend of 23 nutraceuticals, ingredients that have been available as individual nutraceuticals, but now working in synergy to maximize their effects. Recommended by medical physicians, dentists, and other healthcare professionals, Vyrogo is the nutraceutical cocktail for immune support. Developed to strengthen your immune system for quick response to immune challenges, for short and long-term immunity, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. It even protects your heart, kidneys, liver, all in a unique liquid supplement for better absorption. Order online at myvyrogo.com. That's myvyrogo.com. myvyrogo.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Quality ingredients for optimum health. Maha, making America healthy again starts with Vyrogo.
Do you agree that the educational system is broken? The cycle of content conveyance and consumption is failing our children. They are listless, bored, and uninspired. I am Peter Serby, the founder and director of the Riverside Club for Adventure and Imagination, and author of the new book, Casting Fire, a guide to the adventure and imagination of boyhood. The true purpose of education should be to spark a child's curiosity and wonder, to light a fire of creativity, to illuminate a path to find gift and calling. A decade ago, I founded Riverside to rekindle a love of learning in our youth. Our innovative vision immerses boys and girls ages 8 to 14 in epic stories, ignites in them a passion for adventuring in the great outdoors, teaches them the art of craftsmanship, and facilitates strong friendships rooted in faith. Join us on our educational journey. Visit ourside.org to learn more about our imaginative programs and summer camps. And check out my new book, Casting Fire, on Amazon. That's ourside.org.
National security is at risk, and China controls most of the world's supply of antimony, a critical metal for military and defense technology. Military Metals Corp is taking action and securing a Western-controlled supply with projects in Europe and North America. Critical minerals are the backbone of modern defense. Now's the time to pay attention. The stock trades on the OTC under ticker MILIF. Call your broker today or go to www.militarymetalscorp.com to learn more.
Freedom and liberty are important to all of us in Illinois, from Rockford to Carbondale, from Quincy to Decatur. If you're looking for civil, intellectual conversations with those shaping the future of freedom, try the Future of Freedom podcast with me, Scott Bertrand. We speak with leaders across the country in the greater conservative and libertarian movements. In-depth conversations about where the next intellectual battles will happen across the country. It's the Future of Freedom podcast. Find it at americastalking.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, your official weather forecast.
A bit of snow and rain late this morning, otherwise cloudy and breezy with some afternoon rain. Today's high 44. On and off rain for tonight, otherwise mainly cloudy, low 37. And a shower in spots for tomorrow, high 47. I'm Andy Robb on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Jacobson here. Chris Kroc in for Dan for one more day this week. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Have you been paying attention to the tariffs war? It's so exciting. 104% tariff on China.
Did you know, technically, this blew me away even more. This from, I've got it over here. Look, 104% tariff actually. It's on top of the earlier product-based tariffs, bringing the total average tariff rate on China to 125%.
Oh, it's even more.
Woohoo!
Yes.
Because, Trump's first term had increased them, right? And then Biden did a little bit more at 20.8% average before this. So this is freaking great.
Well, I've got the list. I've got the scorecard. Is everybody ready? And also, too, we should mention our phone lines are open. 312-642-5600. You could also text us on that same line. Trump tariffs response. Are you ready? Trying to negotiate. Japan, South Korea, as you know, they have representatives on their way to the United States now. Mm-hmm. The UK, Switzerland, Malaysia, Singapore, Brazil, Colombia, Turkey, and Australia. Okay, those are the countries we're trying to negotiate with and in the process of negotiating. Mm-hmm. Offered concessions, Vietnam, Taiwan, India, Thailand, Indonesia, and Israel. Retaliated. Guess what two countries have retaliated? Well,
China and...
China. You got to say China.
China.
Like Trump does. China and guess who else? Oh, Canada.
Oh, yes. Their interim prime minister, or whatever you want to call him, right? Because he's going to be up for election in the near future, but they say he's going to win. He was nailed in a short bite, which I can play for you if you want.
Yeah,
it's
please
from Twitter,
do.
because this is awesome. You're going to love this. Okay, this is the Prime Minister of China. Might as well be China. Here's Carney, the Canadian Prime Minister. Listen to this. He's rendered speechless.
From my understanding, some of the campaign was pushing positive narratives about you. Why do you think that China, the PRC, seems to like you? Why are they praising you?
I have absolutely no idea, and I have absolutely no idea, and I think I'll leave it at that.
What? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Possible retaliation, EU, even though they want to work with us on 0 tariffs, but that's for steel and other items, but not for cars, which is something that's a sticking point for Trump. Mm-hmm. And no retaliation at all is Mexico. So that's something to celebrate, I guess.
Muy bien.
Kevin O'Leary was all about China yesterday. If we get China on board, that's huge.
I do business in China. They don't play by the rules. They've been in the WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in for decades. They cheat, they steal IP. I can't litigate in their courts. They take product, technology, They steal it, they manufacture it, and sell it back here. This is not about tariffs anymore. Nobody has taken on China yet, not the Europeans, no administration for decades. As someone who actually does business there, I've had enough. I speak for millions of Americans who have IP that has been stolen by the Chinese. The government cheats and steals, and finally, an administration, you may not like Trump, you may not like his style or his rhetoric, finally, an administration that puts up and says enough. 400% tariffs tomorrow morning. He'll tell you why. She can only stay the supreme leader if people are employed. If we wipe out any business there, because we are still 39% of all consumables on Earth and 25% of the world's GDP, America is the #1 economy on Earth with all the cards. We will not have that forever. It's time to squeeze Chinese heads into the wall now.
Wow. Squeeze their heads into the wall now.
Yes.
Also, so, China, they're not back. Beijing said they're not, no motion today. They're not backing down. And also, they want to ban U.S. movies over Trump tariffs. So I had no idea that when a movie goes to China, they change who the villain is. If it's a Chinese person, they change them. They alter it so that there's a different enemy.
Yeah, remember John Cena apologized? This strong man turned into a weak little weakling who refused. He apologized to China. He offended them. Remember that in whatever movie
right.
Oh yeah. He doesn't have any you-know-whats anymore. In my world, did you see?
Well, the recent Minecraft movie, made more than $140 million in its opening weekend in China. That's, I mean, they are losing money in the Chinese box office, but it's still $5 billion was made at China's box office in 2024.
What about Snow Woke? Are they watching that?
I don't know if that would sell in China. Snow Woke. They didn't even use real dwarfs.
Oh,
that's
I know.
The problem.
Yeah.
But everybody seemed to forget about that because they're so concerned about that self-serving, narcissistic lead.
Yes.
I don't even want to say her name. I can't stand her.
Did you see? This is insane. Chinese. Well, this is a quote. I'm quoting the Daily Mail. Chinese launch racist humiliation campaign mocking Trump's tariffs. So it is Americans. It's AI. Released on TikTok and through some account that didn't have many people. It's blown up to millions and millions. And I shared it on my Twitter feed. There are obese Americans in a factory sewing with sewing machines. You saw that? Okay.
Yes.
And then also the Chinese embassy released this clip of Reagan, and it says, quote, from the Chinese embassy on Twitter, Ronald Reagan versus tariffs 1987 speech finds new relevance in 2025. So to me, my reaction when I see this is they're trying to pull this crap and trying to humiliate us. They're trying to dispirit us. They hate us. I'm talking about the CCP, not the Chinese people. They hate us, they humiliate us, and they use us. They got me hot. I'm hot.
President Trump, well, first of all, let me get to Larry Kudlow because he gave me some peace of mind because I am a bit of a panikin, which, Trump said is don't be a panikin. Don't be weak. Don't be stupid.
Right.
Don't be a panikin. So here's Larry Kudlow. There is some hope.
Scott Bessent said April, May, June are going to be busy months, okay? If you could get couple 3 deals in the next 3, 4, 5 weeks, I don't know how many weeks, 6 weeks, that's going to trigger a tremendous rally in the stock market.
Whoa.
Because people are going to say, you know what, the Trump people were right. This is exactly how it's playing out. They were treated unfairly. Now with this threat that they're making pays off. Trump is a master negotiator. I don't see it. Frankly, at this point, to me, all this recession talk, it's the greatest recession that never happened. I don't see it. I just don't see it. If the evidence comes in, you know me. If the empirics come in, I'll say yes.
You'll call it. I know.
I don't see any evidence of a recession.
Larry.
312-642-5600. Let's go to Craig in Mount Greenwood. Good morning. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Amy.
Are we
Good
making
morning,
breakfast, Craig? I hear some dishes clanging.
I had to move the pot off the flame so I can talk in.
I'm hungry, sir. I'll take
Chris,
3 eggs and bacon.
Yeah, we're on the eggs right now.
Good.
Anyways, Chris, you're making a good contribution to the program there. Enjoy listening to you, and always enjoy Amy. Listen, something interesting about this. The two countries, China and Canada, both of them have these real, rotten dictators at the top there love to push their people around and everything. So these two personalities, button heads with Trump, they can't take they're getting a taste of their own medicine, so to speak. Trump's taking in, basically pushing them around, so to speak. So I believe this is going to be really interesting from that perspective. But something you said, Chris, and everything, and others have said it also. China and Canada are in no position to be basically, pushing the way they're pushing back. They're going to have to take it, put their heads down and take it take it what's coming. What's your perspective on the timing on this? When these people start to loosen up and come to their senses?
Well, he said that they're negotiating. Thanks, Craig, with about 50 to 70 countries right now. But you need the big dog.
Yeah,
you need China. But the end game is to get American jobs. Well, to bring back the factories that we've lost. I had no idea how many factories shut down during NAFTA.
It's the only chance we're going to have to reset the table on trade. And when we do, we're going to come out unbelievably well. We're going to have a strong country economically again. And we're going to have those factories that are empty all over the United States. We've lost 90,000 plants and factories. Think of this, 90,000, you wouldn't think it's possible, 90,000 plants and factories since NAFTA.
Did you know that, Chris?
No, not that many, but it makes total sense. And you know what else, too? This whole goal, I think Trump knew this going into this, and he knows it now, and I think we're all starting to figure this out, is to isolate China, isolate them, and bring them to their knees. Xi Jinping cannot survive if this continues. There's these massive factories or distribution places like Alibaba and whatever all these other ones are. They cannot survive without our freaking money. We are funding their military, and their goal is to subjugate us and treat us like they treat their people, which is horrifying.
It's a matter of national security, and that's why Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth was at the Panama Canal.
The United States of America will not allow communist China or any other country to threaten the canal's operation or integrity. I want to be very clear. China did not build this canal. China does not operate this canal. And China will not weaponize this canal.
It's definitely going to get ugly before it gets better. It's 5:30 now. Let's head into the newsroom. Here is Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 34 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. President Trump has signed an executive order that aims to revitalize the coal industry in the U.S. In a ceremony at the White House Tuesday, Trump said he's ending what he called former President Biden's war on clean coal. He said Biden put thousands of coal miners out of work during his time in office. The White House said the order will reverse policies that slowed coal production in the country. Trump noted European countries are moving back to coal energy after switching to green energy like wind. Mayor Johnson is vowing to get an earlier start on the city's next budget. He sent a letter to the aldermen yesterday with a list of scheduled budget-focused meetings starting this month. The mayor and council members have a huge task ahead. Johnson's budget office has predicted budget gaps of $1.12 billion in 2026 and $1.32 billion in 2027. This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscriptions ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code RADIO and get an extra 5% off. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
When you need to talk about what's happening today.
Hey, can I talk to you for a second?
There's one place you can come to. The Shawn Thompson Show.
Do it! Do it, I dare you. Do it!
Get in the conversation.
Everybody talks about that show. Sounds great, doesn't it?
Weekdays starting at 4.
This is easy.
I like his honesty and his frankness. Every day I listen to him, I learn.
He says what's on his mind. He's real.
Best person out there to listen to. We're combating people who prefer the lie.
He's Shawn Thompson, only on AM 560. The Answer.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
It's important to have a heating and cooling company you know you can depend on. That company is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They aren't one of those massive companies with newer techs and subcontractors. Oh no, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling send only their own highly skilled techs. From service to installation and everything in between, the work quality and customer service is the best. For 40 years, the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling has kept homeowners and business customers comfy and warm in the winter and nice and cool in the warmer months. Don't call the big guys, call the best. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.net. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.net. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
We always use M13. They can print anything.
They design and price match. M13 does amazing work.
M13 Graphics has helped make our brand stand out. They're definitely the best for less.
Before M13, amateur. With M13, we look awesome.
M13 Graphics, Chicago's leader in full-color design and printing. Set your business up for success with exceptional print products, turned around in just 24 to 48 hours. Business cards, postcards, posters, banners, brochures, apparel, you name it. M13 will design and print nearly anything for your business. They have the right people in place and a reputation that keeps customers happy and coming back for more. They're a Chicago company that embodies the idea of business integrity. They live it every day. After all, in this country, you're free to do business with who you choose. Respect that freedom. Choose the best. For speedy turnaround, excellent service, and the best pricing in Chicagoland, choose M13 Graphics for all your design and printing. Online at M13.com. Visit M13.com or call now, toll free, 877-M13-1913. That's 877-M13-1913.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com or at your local CVS.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Eden's inbound Lake Cook to Montrose clear in 15 minutes. That's both in and outbound. Traffic is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Inbound on the Kennedy from O'Hare to Byrne Interchange, 17 minutes. Montrose, less than 10. Outbound is the same. Inbound Eisenhower from Wolf to Byrne Interchange, 25 minutes. Reverse trip is the same. Drivers inbound on the Stevenson from 355 to Lakeshore, 20 minutes. Harlem to the Dan Ryan, less than 10. Seeing the Tuesday morning drive pick up in the Dan Ryan inbound express lanes between 33rd and the Stevenson Expressway. Also slow, same story on the Bishop Ford inbound. You are slow Cottage Grove to the Dan Ryan. That'll take you about 17 minutes. On the Veterans Memorial Expressway in and out between 290 and I-80, less than 30 from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. I'm KT.
Now, your official weather forecast.
A bit of snow and rain late this morning, otherwise cloudy and breezy with some afternoon rain. Today's high 44. On and off rain for tonight, otherwise mainly cloudy, low 37. And a shower in spots for tomorrow, high 47. I'm Andy Robb on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Our phone lines are always open here at AM 560 because we love to hear from you, our listeners. We don't love to hear from somebody we don't trust, right? And who do you think is the most untrusted individual in America? Since COVID hit, who's the most untrusted individual? Chris Crack. By the way, thank you for joining us again today.
You're very, very welcome. If I had my Fauci impersonation, I don't have a Fauci impersonation. I have many impersonations that are pretty good, but not this. I don't have one for this guy. It would be the disgraced former NIH director Anthony Fauci, that clown. Actually, he's more than a clown. He's responsible for killing. He's partially responsible for killing over 1 million Americans.
You think? Oh, really? 312-642-5600. Yes, it's still early this morning. You really think he's responsible for killing?
Well, he funded it, and
millions of Americans.
Yes, he funded gain-of-function research. He funded the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and without him, some of this stuff wouldn't have happened. Well, it wouldn't have happened because we funded it through our money because he authorized it, and he was quietly doing gain-of-function research, even though he shouldn't have. And so, yes, he is partially responsible. Obviously, the government of China, they literally, as you know, the Wuhan Institute of Virology ran at a level of a dentist's office as far as the facilities and what they wore and the ventilation system. It was at a dental office instead of a level. I think it's level 4. It was like level 2. So there was no safety. There was no precautions, and our diplomats wired back to us. They cabled that it was a disaster as far as safety protocols.
I wish he was in prison, but that's not an option. Senator Rand Paul tried many times,
and he was right. Yeah,
and he was right. But guess what? Dr. Fauci has crawled out of whatever little rat hole he's been living in.
Bat cave.
Yeah, to tell us some news. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Are you sitting down, Chris?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I promise.
He claims we're going to have another global pandemic.
He's excited about this.
Uh-huh. Oh, he can't wait. See, he was at a book signing event in New Orleans, I believe. And, this is what he had to say. Everybody hunker down. Listen in. Listen up.
What is likely to happen, I don't know if it's going to be next year or 10 years or 15 or 20 years from now, is the emergence of another respiratory disease. It may be another coronavirus because we know that coronaviruses really, mostly in bats, have the capability of binding to receptors that are in humans. It could be another flu. We're dealing with H5N1 now, which is bird flu, which has taken the somewhat disturbing step of infecting mammals, namely cows and cats and other mammals, which means it's adapting itself more to a human. So my concern, Walter, is that whenever that happens, the next outbreak will be of a respiratory disease that's easily transmissible, that has a significant degree of morbidity.
And we are making this a little bit more dangerous with the cuts and our attitude toward science?
Ooh.
Oh, absolutely.
Trump's fault.
They're tying it back to Trump.
Yeah, work it.
I believe that COVID took down Trump. They needed something. And then when this bird flu started up during, the 2024, our last presidential election, I thought, oh boy, here we go.
Right.
Here we go. But is anybody buying this anymore?
Well, my question was, I wonder how he knows about the bats and binding the bat. Maybe because you sponsored that and signed off on it? He's excited, though. In 10, 20, I can't do impersonation, but in 10, 20 years, even if I'm dead, you're going to need me. You're going to need an AI of me.
You know what? That's an okay Fauci impersonation. You should do a Joel Brodsky. Have you looked up who Joel Brodsky is yet? Because you sound exactly like Joel Brodsky.
That's crazy. Okay, but by the way, I do a Mike Lindell.
Oh, okay.
Mike Lindell, My Pillow, MyPillow.com. My Pillow.
Okay, tell me about the Giza Dream Sheets.
I think I've got some of his sheets on my bed right now, and I'm going, these things are comfortable. These things, I swear to you, and by the way, I actually do, and I'm not getting paid to do this. I will never mention this again unless I'm getting paid. Okay. One freebie. That's all they ever get from me. But I have the My Pillows. I have 2 of them, and those things I have 3 of them actually. They work.
I know.
They're all over me. They're surrounding me.
All right, so back to Fauci. What was the worst part of COVID for you? Were your kids still in high school, or were they?
No, well, we homeschooled, so that was the best thing in the world. It did not affect the kids' the school.
You homeschool? You didn't homeschool. Your wife did.
No, well, actually, listen here. Well, she was. It was a faith thing back in the day, and I when he was in kindergarten or first grade, and I'm like, you're nuts. But I ended up deciding that she was right, and we did it. And I panicked every other year. I was like super checking the grades and getting extra testing. These kids, my son is the second highest level out of 5 levels, according to the government of Japan, of Japanese language proficiency. He is a straight-A student, has more than half of his college paid for by scholarships. He's got a semester left after this semester.
Where does he go to school?
He goes to University of Texas at Dallas, UTD.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And, and he was in Japan for a semester, studied abroad. And once he got there, he stayed homestay because he wanted to, and he said, and he told us halfway through, he's like, this is my real family now. And so he still calls them his real family, even though he's back home.
Oh, that's so sweet. So what is he? And then that's how many kids do you have?
Like
2 boys?
He was threatening us.
Right.
My real family. 1 boy and 1 girl. She's 18. She's in community college, and she got most of it for free because she did dual credit. And she's got mostly A's. Pretty much I think she's still an A student.
So real quick, I know we're switching gears here and changing subjects, but so tell me a typical day for homeschoolers.
Oh, and by the way, there were some years when I stepped up and did at least half of the homeschool, maybe even 60%. Mm-hmm. But most of the time she did most of it. But I'm telling you, there was a lot of years I learned more about my country and this world through teaching my son with the curriculum we got. And listen, if we can do it, anybody can do it. And we got a Christian-based curriculum, but it was more rigorous than you could imagine. You could not do it all. But it was they lay it out for you. It's incredible. Go ahead. What was your?
No. I just what's a typical day? Do you get up the same time everybody else does? I mean, you don't have to go get the bus. You don't have to do any of that.
No, with these odd schedules that you and I have and all of us have that do what we do.
Yeah.
My wife was brilliant. We adjusted to whatever my schedule was as a family, and so we got up whenever was appropriate for us as a family, so we had more family time together. And I had guilt for years. Oh, they were getting up late because me, whatever. But no, I mean, dude,
what do you mean getting up late? I don't know your thing. Were you a morning?
Well, I mean, depends on what time it would be.
Were you a talk show host? What were
DJ?
What were you?
No, I did 1 4-month stint in radio as a DJ, and I left it. I got fired because all I wanted to do was talk. So that was like 30 years ago. I don't even know what. But anyways, so no, I just talk show host. I've been a talk show host for 20.
Right, but did you do mornings, afternoons, or evenings?
I've done all of them. When I came here to Dallas, I did afternoons for 2 years. And then I went to split shift, and then I did nights and split half afternoons, half nights, and all sorts of stuff.
So your kids were doing the reason why I ask, your kids were doing homeschooling while you were at work?
Yeah, and then I also did homeschooling for when my wife was at work too.
Okay. Wow.
We made a sacrifice, though. We lost. We did not earn with a lot of revenue. We didn't take in because one of us was home. We made a sacrifice, and it was a big one, but we would never change it for the world.
But the schools in Texas are so good. I mean, aren't they?
Well, we live in a school district that's one of the top ones. We're in a landlocked, really nice suburb, and but it didn't matter.
Wow.
And we offered them when they got older. We're like, hey, like 7th, 8th grade, freshmen, do you want to go to public school? You want to take a tour? Nope. Okay.
All right. What did you do for physical activity? Because I know the Park District here, they have homeschoolers come on 4 days a week, and they do different activities in the gym.
I've offered them to do stuff with the school, but they didn't want to. We did activities, whether it be through classes, we call it like extracurricular stuff. You can do the Park District.
Right.
We did a lot of stuff at the Park District, and we also did activities like there's Boy Scouts for my son was a Christian troop, though homeschool troop, so we didn't play that game ever, and they still don't. And then my daughter was in, what's the Christian version of Girl Scouts? I can't remember now. It'll come to me in a second. American Heritage Girls.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Good.
So we did all sorts of stuff.
Wow, that requires a lot of patience, and you have a bond with your kids that a lot of people will not have. My cousin homeschooled, my first cousin. I thought that was crazy, and now both of her kids got into Pepperdine.
There you go. My
and UCLA and USC and everywhere they've applied because they're smart. She did a great job.
Yeah, and that's my parents thought I was nuts, but eventually you see the product and it works.
First time I met homeschoolers, I was working in El Paso, and this guy Chris, who's from a family of 12 siblings, and they homeschooled. Like, homeschooled? What is that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd heard about it, but I had never met anybody. And they explained because they worked the land. They were ranchers, so they didn't go off to school. They would study at certain times during the day and then do chores the other hours. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Anywho, all right, let's go. Did I just say anywho?
You did, but that's okay.
Oh, boy. George in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Good morning, George. Were you homeschooled by any chance?
No. Good morning, Amy and Chris. I have to agree with Chris. Fauci is most untrustworthy, but I put Nancy Pelosi in there for January 6th because I think she set up Trump.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She did.
Everybody's setting up Trump. Everyone wants Trump to fail, and I think it's sickening. Thanks, George, for the phone call.
Okay, you're welcome.
Some people are so excited that the stock market is, fluctuating every day, and that people on fixed incomes are losing, their retirement. It's not funny.
Yeah.
It's not, but we'll get there. We'll get back.
Did you see? Did you see talking about the coronavirus and all that? Did you see this? Biden administration concealed congressionally mandated report on earliest suspected American COVID cases. They knew 2.5 years ago, Biden did, by a report, and it was mandatory that they would share it with us. They didn't. He didn't. His administration didn't. They covered it up. And there were 7 of our soldiers that were participating in the World Military Games. They came home. They flew back into SeaTac, Seattle, Tacoma, right? And that's where the pandemic started. They had COVID. They had the symptoms of COVID. They came home. They got it. And the World Military Games were actually right by the Wuhan. They were at Wuhan, right by the lab. Not kidding, not exaggerating. And they said it was a ghost town when they were there. So China, and so this was in the fall of 2019.
Fall of 2019?
Yeah.
Well, there was, because the American Red Cross, they had, because they randomly do blood screenings from people who donate. And they found the coronavirus in Wisconsin, in Nebraska, in Illinois, in the fall of 2019.
Right. Well, there you go.
Isn't that strange?
And German troops that came back also came back with it to Germany from this event. So they already had the streets cleared. They had their people already had it, and our soldiers went there, and they lied. China lied, of course, like they always do. Like Kevin O'Leary was saying earlier, they lied, cheat, and steal, and they lied and pretended that it was our fault. They actually said we brought it there.
Oh, of course they did. But do you remember the videos of people in body bags, but they weren't dead yet?
Do you remember them
And they're
shaking?
moving around and
remember them?
What they did to their people, they locked their people in their high rises.
Starved them to
They put
death.
a metal bar. And then also, too, if you had COVID
By the way,
you
they'll
had a
do that
cat,
to us. They'll do that to us if they take us over one day. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No, if you had a cat or a dog and if you had COVID, they came in and they euthanized, they killed your pet.
Yep.
They took your pet out. They came in with the hazmat suit. And I mean, it's still just I have PTSD from it. That's for sure.
What is disgusting, one of the many disgusting things about how the CCP runs its people and its country, when you protest, they have all the phones. They know where you are at all times, and they geofence and they go, okay, these guys were there. Then you get a text from the police department, the local police department. They say you were going to show up tomorrow at this time at our station. And then if you don't, and also the phones, for them to get around outside of their homes, the phone will either be green or red whenever China wants it to control these people, their people. And if your phone is red, they won't let you go past certain places, send you back home. So, I mean, you're going to jail or you're going to be beaten and tortured if you participate in any protests.
312-642-5600. Let's go to the phone lines. Bob in Buffalo Grove. Good morning, Bob. How are you?
Pretty good. Good to hear Chris do talk. On a bigger scale with regards to liars, let me offer the mainstream media. how much have they lied to us in recent years? And they're still lying to us and trying to cover up stuff.
Well, what's their biggest lie, do you think, Bob?
Well, right now, and it's just starting to be exposed, is Biden's cognitive abilities.
Oh, yeah.
They covered that up.
Not anymore. What's his name? Tapper. Jake Tapper just wrote a book. He's exposing the truth. Remember when he chastised Laura Trump for saying that, 3 years ago?
Oh, I remember. Yep.
But now he wrote a book.
I know, saying the same thing, saying all that we knew. Thanks, Bob. That's
good talking to you.
And there's another book that's out too, not besides Jake Tapper's. I can't remember what the name is. I'm sorry, bad talk show host today. But in it, they talk about his debate prep and how he would wander off, and then he would sit by the pool.
Yes,
because he was isolated. They never put him in the meetings. They completely iced him out when they would have their daily briefings.
That was Ron Klain saying that in the book. They're quoting him. And Ron Klain was all the time, before, during, after that. Oh, he's great. Oh, I can't
nothing to see here. Yeah.
Oh, he's running circles around. He's doing push-ups upside down. He runs backwards 5 miles a day.
A bunch of lies.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer. Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call CrossCom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, CrossCom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with CrossCom.
Call CrossCom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call CrossCom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. CrossCom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call CrossCom.
CrossCom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with CrossCom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrossComPublicAdjusters.com.
At AlmostFreeTeeth.com, they're dedicated to making smiles great again. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get a beautiful dental implant-supported smile. Check if you qualify right now at AlmostFreeTeeth.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
The podcast that wasn't. Good morning, Amy Jacobson here, Chris Kroc in for Deanne Proft. Real quick, how can people follow you on Twitter or
Thank you for asking. At Chris Kroc Show. That's at Chris Kroc Show, ChrisKrok.
K-R-O-K, Kroc.
Correct.
Okay. Do you know about Michelle Obama's podcast? Do you
Yes,
even know
Mrs.
the name of it, Mr. Kroc?
Well, I know Mrs. Hussein Obama launched her podcast. And I think it's called Hanging Out with Michael.
No, it's called IMO, in my opinion.
I mean, what a freaking disaster.
Well, it's alongside her brother, Craig Robinson.
Who cares about him? Do you know?
This new media venture is stalling in the media marketplace right now. Not a lot of options. She's hemorrhaging viewers on YouTube. But this is the premise. I'll let her explain it about her new podcast, what the point is.
Hey, TikTok, it's Michelle Obama, and I'm here with my big brother, Craig.
Hey, everybody.
We're here because we're excited to announce the launch of our new podcast called IMO with Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson.
We started talking about this at the outset, why we're doing this show.
You know, post White House and writing the books and doing book tours, speaking at leadership conferences, things you do as a coach, you realize that what we have, even in our lack of resources, in our household growing up, we had people who would share their opinions, give us advice. We had mentors, and we were used to mentoring and being mentored. And I realized that a lot of people don't have that. You know, they don't have a safe place to come sometimes,
right,
where they feel comfortable being vulnerable and asking hard questions, or they don't have people in their lives they trust. They are lone wolves, or maybe they have contentious relationships where they're estranged from the people they could rely on. So a lot of people out there are looking for guidance.
Stop it! It's killing me! Help!
Well, it started out with 335,000 views, but now they're down to 140,000 views. So how do you get out of that? I mean,
she's screwed. Listen, you know this, and I know this. And if you aren't a talent, then you suck as a host.
But
you have
she's the it girl. She always thought she's been the it girl.
Here's the thing. I was privileged to do a show in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and I was hired kind of, I'm not going to say I replaced, but apparently my boss thought I did. They replaced Jesse Ventura, and it was a brilliant, simple thought that he shared with me one day. He's like, Jesse is an amazing guest, but he is not a generator. He is a reactor. He is a horrible host, and I think Mrs. Hussein Obama is the same thing. She is this woman. People can kiss her rump and think she walks on water and worship her, literally, but it doesn't make her a good talent, a good generator. She's not. This is boring.
Well,
hey,
They take relationship questions.
Oh, gosh.
That's the thing. But, I mean, the show stumbled out at the gate at a time when Democrats are so eager to expand their media footprint and be more like conservatives with podcasts. That's why Gavin Newsom's doing it, also, to further his career and hopefully run for president.
Right.
But it's not working. Because people can smell BS when they see it.
And what's her brother? Who's this?
Oh, Craig Robinson?
Is she giving him welfare? I mean, what is this guy?
Oh, you don't know who Craig Robinson is?
No, I've heard of him.
They both went to Princeton. They both grew up on the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
He's recently divorced, so they're offering...
He's telling me about relationships. Oh.
Divorce advice.
Look at this. They're down to 6,200 views. Sorry, 62,000 views.
Okay.
They went from 252, 225, 194, 140, and now they're down to 62,000. They're literally cutting in half every week.
Well, they got to take an exit ramp. Today, snow and rain likely, a high of 43. It is now 6 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
The tariffs keep coming, and so does the selling. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Most stock markets are down again this morning worldwide as Dow futures drop about 200 points. The Dow's plunged more than 4,500 in the past 4 trading days amid worry about tariffs hurting the global economy. And Fox's Lucas Tomlinson reports more are now in place.
Prices are expected to rise as these new tariffs were launched beginning at the stroke of midnight last night. The U.S. government began collecting tariffs on roughly 90 countries. Top Trump officials say they've heard from 70 of them trying to negotiate new trade deals with the United States. Now, in addition to China, the U.S. is slapping tariffs on U.S. allies as well, including Israel, Japan, and South Korea.
I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my. They are dying to make a deal. Please, sir, make a deal.
Now, all the tariffs on China add up to 104%.
But the world's biggest exporter says it won't sit idly by. In a paper published this morning, it vows countermeasures, saying China's right to develop cannot be deprived. The government in Beijing believes it can ride out the economic storm. That's because exports to the United States only account for 2% of China's GDP.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Trump made his comments about making tariff deals at a House GOP dinner where he helped raise $35 million for the Republican Congressional Committee, hours after signing an executive order touting what he calls beautiful, clean coal, reversing federal policies in a climate change fighting push for renewable energy.
We're bringing back an industry that was abandoned, despite the fact that it was just about the best, certainly the best in terms of power, real power.
Crews keep searching the rubble in a Dominican Republican disaster, still searching for anyone still trapped in a roof collapse in a crowded nightclub early yesterday while a merengue band was playing. The singer Ruby Perez among the 98 people killed, along with 2 ex-Major League ball players, Octavio Dotel, Tony Blanco. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning.
It's 34 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Elon Musk is calling a trade advisor for President Trump a moron after claims made about Tesla. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Tuesday the administration isn't concerned with the back and forth between Musk and Peter Navarro.
Look, these are obviously two individuals who have very different views on trade and on tariffs. Boys will be boys, and we will let their public sparring continue.
Navarro claimed Tesla is not a car manufacturer and instead is a car assembler that puts vehicles together from parts from other countries. Musk says what Navarro claims is false. He also said that the trade advisor is dumber than a sack of bricks, and his company is the most vertically integrated auto manufacturer in the U.S. The billionaire added Tesla has the most American-made cars. A state appellate court says that the Illinois Department of Transportation has the authority to pull Oak Brook Terrace's permit for red light cameras. The court recently issued a ruling finding the western suburb disregarded a requirement to provide IDOT with camera data reports. The Oak Brook Terrace City Council has yet to decide whether it will appeal the decision. The speed cameras in question are next to the Oak Brook Center Mall. A Chicago man says he's lucky to be alive after a tree fell on his car while he was driving. The incident happened Tuesday afternoon on the city's northwest side. Miguel Arez says that the tree came down when he hit his brakes to allow another vehicle to come out of an alley. He believes that his car is a total loss. 2 other vehicles were also damaged. News is a service of Low T Center. Men over 40, not feeling like yourself lately, no energy or motivation? Low T Center's testosterone therapy is the solution. This April, the consultation is free. Treatments covered by most major insurance. Find a clinic near you or get tested from home and get back to feeling your best today. Book now at lowtcenter.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove. And Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. Featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Shawn Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Air Right Heating and Cooling.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active-duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Michaela's Mobile Spa, Michaela! Michaela got a quick business insurance quote from Progressive and chose from over 30 customizable coverages. Sure, it helps she's her only employee and does literally everything, but while others would rest on their laurels, Michaela was hard at work saving big. So take that, hypothetical other employee who doesn't exist. Be your own Michaela. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
Vyrogo is fending off viruses and making America healthy again.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. I'm one of the co-founders of Vyrogo, the immune enhancement cocktail. Vyrogo contains 23 natural ingredients that work synergistically to boost your immune system. Vyrogo's natural ingredients also protect your heart, your brain, and your liver through its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Vyrogo also promotes healthy gum health. So go to myvyrogo.com, that's myvirogo.com, and use promo code IMMUNE to get 30% off. And remember, Maha starts with Vyrogo.
Boost your immune system with Vyrogo. Order your bottle today. Visit myvyrogo.com. That's myvirogo.com.
And use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%.
That's myvyrogo.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Vyrogo and Maha, making America healthy again.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hawkburg Traffic Center. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, about 15 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Byrne interchange, about 20 minutes. The Eisenhower inbound from the Jane Addams to the Old Post Office, about 27 minutes. The Stevenson inbound from 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 25 minutes. And the Dan Ryan Express lanes inbound from Marquette to the Stevenson, 6 minutes. Traffic is a service of Fox Valley Coins. Bring your gold or silver in store today. Each item is priced right in front of you. The coins never leave your sight. Receive cash or check right on the spot. FoxValleyCoins.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Now, your official weather forecast.
A bit of snow and rain late this morning, otherwise cloudy and breezy with some afternoon rain. Today's high 44. On and off rain for tonight, otherwise mainly cloudy, low 37. And a shower in spots for tomorrow, high 47. I'm Andy Robb on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering smart security systems to homes and businesses. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Amy Jacobson here. Chris Crock in for Dan Proft for one more day. I wonder how it went when he was hitting the links.
Oh, I did finally. I'm so glad you brought that up.
He didn't hit the links, by the way. He didn't hit he was watching practice rounds at the Masters, but still, that's I wonder if he was somebody's guest or if he had to pay out of pocket for that, because that's a lot of money to go see that.
So this is the tweet I retweeted and I was looking for yesterday. Don't let the stock market crashing distract you from the fact that it's Masters Week. That was what somebody, Bear Market Capital, Ram Capital, tweeted out. I thought it was funny.
Oh, I see. So I don't know if you saw this, but there is a couple in Naperville who, this inclusive couple, and we're trying to find, here, I found it. There's an inclusive couple. So giving so understanding to people's different opinions, right? They're the party of tolerance, you remember? Well, there was a man, and he was a bit of a troll, but he was walking around downtown Naperville, okay?
In a Pikachu hat.
Well, was he wearing a Pikachu hat?
Yeah, it looked like a Pikachu helmet or something.
But he had a sign, and what did the sign say? The sign said, trans women are men, and this couple went ballistic. Well, you can hear it for yourself.
So walking around with this?
Why?
Because it's the truth.
Your business.
No.
Are you scared?
No, why? Why do you say that?
What are you worried about?
What do you mean?
I mean, take your hateful message and get out.
It's not hate.
It's pretty hateful.
No, it's not. It's the truth.
Accept people as they are.
Well,
There's a lot of ways to be human.
How is it hateful?
There's a lot of ways to be human. With the Pikachu hat on.
What's your purpose? To spread the truth.
What the truth of what?
That they're. She keeps interrupting me. They're men. They're men.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Hey, watch it. Watch it.
Watch what?
No, you better fucking watch it. Don't approach me like that.
You need to get out of neighborhood.
No. No.
Hateful message.
No. I'm going to stand here as long as I want. You better stop stepping up to me.
We got cops everywhere.
Yeah, you better fucking stop.
Get the hell
Yeah.
out. You come here for the purpose of pissing.
No, let's spread the truth. You guys need to calm down. You're both out of control, actually. Calm down. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Quit walking up to me. Quit walking up to me.
You're walking around with a fucking sign like a piece of crap.
Calm down. Relax. Relax.
What is this guy doing? He's allowed to be.
Yeah. Listen to him and walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Get out.
Shut up.
Sure, if you watch
I'd rather you guys not have this interaction.
Yeah.
Let him do what he's doing. He's got to go.
Yeah, it's called freedom of speech, man. We're in America. Yeah, but you can't assault me. You can't walk up on me like that.
I'm not assaulting.
Yeah, stop walking up on me. Stop, dude.
Hey,
Dude, just calm down. It's not that big, man. Just relax. Yeah. It's words on a sign. I told you to quit fucking walking up to me.
Cops are in here.
Quit walking up on me.
Hey, to get out of here. Go. Just, sir, help us and walk the other direction that they are, okay? It's not. He's allowed to be here. He's allowed to be here.
Do you want to take over? Do you want this?
There's nothing we can do about it.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, it's cool.
Then she came back with her phone.
Okay, bye.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us on our very same line. Midwest Millennial is the one who tweeted that out, and we'll retweet it if you want to see the video. But how unhinged. I mean, this couple, the uppity left-wing hacks, just harassing a guy who's just holding a sign because that's his opinion. And last I checked, Chris, there's freedom of speech and freedom of expression in the United States of America.
This is crazy. I mean, it's downtown Naperville, it looks like, and I've been there so many times. To think that somebody who looks like an average person walking by with their boyfriend or husband, whoever they are, and they cannot stop. They can't just, like, you and I have seen things where, like, oh my gosh, that guy's an idiot, but you don't say anything.
Right,
what do you care?
walk away. You look at them, and you just don't get that uptight. They can't stop harassing him, and they were following him, and he went to the left, he went to the right. It was ridiculous.
So they need, like a 5-year-old child on a playground, they need cops to come in there and say, get the hell out of here, leave them alone.
Well, the cops, I mean, they were trying to be, fair and balanced, and it's like, you walk this way, and you walk this way. But then she came back with her phone, and then she's in his face once again. 312-642-5600. Let's go to Steve in Romeoville. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Amy. How you guys doing? You guys are great. Love you guys.
Thanks.
Anyway, this guy's got a YouTube channel, and I came across it during midweek last week, and he's been in Lombard. He's been in Plainfield. He was in Naperville.
Good.
Wheaton. And these people are nut jobs, and they follow him around, and they confront him, and he just has a sign that says what it says, and it's true. And these Democrats or whatever you want to call them, they're nut jobs. They won't leave him alone. They follow him around. They confront him.
Even in Lombard and Plainfield, all those other cities or suburbs as well.
Yeah, because I was like, wow, that's downtown Plainfield, because I'm from there, and I'm like, right there, he's right by the School of Rock, and these people just, they went out of their way. They cross the street, they come over, they confront him, they get in his face, and he's just like, stay away from me, freedom of speech, and just so you know, there's a YouTube channel. Like I can't recall exactly what it is.
Okay.
But you'll find it. But that's all I want to say. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, Steve.
This is their faith. This is their faith. This is what fills their heart instead of faith in God. This reminds me of driving downtown to church and seeing these idiots on the overpass on Sunday morning protesting Elon Musk and Trump, and it's like. So I told my wife, look at that. I said they don't have God. So this is their religion.
There's a lot of people that don't have God in their life, and government is their God. But the sign saying trans women are men, I mean, this is directly affecting our female athletes. I don't know if you saw this, but 2 men are going to be facing each other for a women's championship title at the Ultimate Pool Women's Pro Series in the UK. Harriet Haynes and Lucy Smith, both trans-identified males, beat all female competitors to take the spots in the women's final event. And then this story, this is so heartbreaking. It's a high school student. She was removed from her girls' varsity cross-country team and replaced by a male. Here's her story.
Good morning, members of the committee. My name is Taylor Starling. I'm 16 years old, and I attend Martin Luther King High School. I have a 4.0 GPA, serve as vice president of my junior class, and volunteer with National Women's Charity League, and lead as captain of my school's cross-country and track and field teams. I was removed from my varsity girls team and replaced by a newly eligible male transfer student who received favorable treatment. I worked every day during summer with my team and into the school year 6 days a week, waking up at 5 a.m. to attend morning practices and staying at school until 4:45 each day. My goal was to attain a varsity spot on my school's Division I CIF team. Not an easy feat, but one I accomplished. Since the start of the season in August, I ran in every varsity race. In late October, the male transfer student was given my spot after not being held to the same strict team requirements as me and the rest of the girls. He did not have to attend practice while my team and I were running 7 miles a day together. After having my spot taken away from me that I earned, I missed out on running with my varsity team in one of the top cross-country invitationals of the season. Ugh. As a result of this unfair treatment, my teammate Caitlin and I wore shirts that said Save Girls Sports and stated that boys and girls are different. It's common sense. XX does not equal XY. This is not hateful or unkind. This is reality. However, our athletic director made me remove my shirt and told me it was like wearing a swastika in front of a Jewish person, and said that I would face disciplinary action if I wore it again. My Title IX and free speech rights as a female matter too. Why are girls being told that we must sit down and be quiet while boys unfairly get ahead of us in life? Why do boys not have to attend practice and make the sacrifices that us girls make in order to be scholar athletes? Just because those boys believe they are transgender. Girls matter too. Please protect us. Thank you.
I mean, very well spoken. What a great girl, dedicated to her sport. And she's out because some guy thinks he's a girl and takes her spot. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I thought there was an executive order banning DEI mandates in school. But guess what, Chris? Not everybody's listening. Daniel Morton Bentley, counsel and deputy commissioner for the New York State Education Department, has reportedly sent a letter stating that they're not going to comply with its demands to end DEI in public schools despite potentially losing funding.
No problem.
So they're putting trans men, which is a very small part of our population, in front of hardworking high school girls and middle schoolers, such as Taylor, who, by the way, she goes to Martin Luther King Jr. High School in California. I wonder what Martin Luther King Jr. would think of all this.
Oh, gosh. How
crazy the world has become.
Yeah. By the way, the two guys that you mentioned that are playing for pool, pretending they're women, the Ultimate Pool Women's Pro Series.
Yeah, the Women's Pro Series, yes.
Yeah, when I saw that, I retweeted it and I put, great job, men. I love women's sports.
Well, Education Secretary Linda McMahon has announced the formation of a Title IX special investigation to hold schools accountable. I love this chick.
Today, the Department of Education, alongside the Department of Justice, is proud to announce the creation of the Title IX Special Investigations Team, consisting of attorneys and investigators from both of our agencies to adjudicate our ever-increasing volume of Title IX investigations. We have received a staggering number of complaints about men competing in women's sports and invading women-only intimate spaces. That's why we're partnering with Attorney General Bondi's team to move even faster in order to protect women and girls. The establishment of this team will benefit women and girls across this nation who have been subjected to discrimination and indignity in their educational activities. To all entities receiving federal funding who continue to allow these illegal practices, we will not permit you to trample on women's rights any longer.
Amen.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Quick piece of breaking news real quick, just to let China has retaliated against the retaliation. That's funny. Beijing announces raising tariffs on U.S. goods to 84%. Don't worry, we're still going to win this one with these guys.
Okay, thank you. And we'll talk more about that, too, with Stephen Moore at 7:30. Let's go to the phone lines, 312-642-5600. Gabby in Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Gabby.
Hi, good morning. I don't know if it's as simple as this. They refer to us women as cis women, no? We are cis women, cis white men, etc. Then why don't they just put the word cis women's track team, cis women's volleyball? This way that eliminates using their own methodology and their own language. I don't know if it would work, but that's all I have to say. Have a great day, guys.
All right, thanks, Gabby. I mean, I
prefer not to play their game, Yeah,
well, and then some people, these squishy Republicans, are, well, we'll have a third gender, and but there's not enough trans players to make up a basketball team or make up a women's volleyball team or,
No compromising.
No,
truth
cannot
is the
back
truth.
down. Cannot back
There's
down.
a hoo-ha down there. So that means you're a guy.
Excuse me, there's a what?
Hoo-ha. You want me to say it? I'll say it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's morning. People are so sipping coffee. They don't want to hear that word.
Ed in Oakbrook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Ed.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for taking my call. You know what? My point is, why aren't more women screaming at the top of their lungs about this? I mean, it's their daughters, and it's female. And when you get a white guy or any guy that voices against this, it just ruins the whole debate. And another thing, Amy, you could have nipped this in the butt about 7 years ago when you were coaching basketball and you were playing Oscar Mayer Wiener School, and they had boys on the team. And you continued to play. You should have walked off the court then.
That was volleyball, and it was. I don't think it was Oscar Mayer. I think it was Alcott. Alcott.
I thought you said Oscar Mayer. I remember. Anyway, you had the chance to end this way back then. But anyway,
some of the parents. It was the year. It was 2019. I'll never forget it. And some of the parents we're not playing against them, and
right.
It was up to me, and the referee's like, "This is up to you," and. We had just been on a 5-week strike, and we made it to the championships. So I'm like, you know what? Let's play them. And then I'll never forget what the coach said to me. She's like, well, it's not like they're any good. I said, that's not the point. This is the beginning of the end of women's sports. We have a boys volleyball team. And I said, are they transitioning? She's like, you can't ask that. I said, well, what are their names? She's like, you can't ask that. She was so proud of herself. This lefty liberal, all crunchy, smelling like hemp, so proud of herself to... Oh, look what I'm doing. And she took time away. She had a lot of girls on her bench, and a lot of girls didn't play for those two guys to play.
Who won?
Oh, come on. It's Coach Amy here.
I mean,
I don't know if you know this is all about the coaching. No, we won, and they were not that good. So then we started targeting them. I'm like, well, let's target them. I mean, we'll show them. But it was just, I'll never forget that day because it was, and it was literally up to me. So I said, you know what?
Wow.
We're gonna play.
Good for you to kick their butts and take names. I'm
One
sure
dude was tall though. He was 6 feet tall against my little girl. I'm not going to say her name, but she's about 75 pounds and 5'1".
How old was she at the time? And
this was 5th and 6th grade girls.
Okay.
And
Dang.
he was 6 feet tall. And then there was another kid, but he was about 5'4". But it was just, the whole thing was bizarre, and nobody understood what was going on because they clearly were not transitioning. This was just a coach who made this about her, who thought she'd be so woke that, I'm going to bring boys. And she kind of snuck them in too. You know how you get 2 minutes shared time, and then home team gets 6 minutes. We get 6 minutes. They snuck them in.
They didn't change in the girls' locker room?
Oh, no, I have no idea about that. I have no idea about that. I just know that people showed up already in their clothes, in their uniforms, excuse me. So then they tried to sneak them in, and then the referee said, there's 2 boys here. So the whole thing was bizarre, but it was one of the first times that
that's early in this saga.
Before COVID.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. You know all about Megan Rapinoe and how she was beaten, her team, the women's professional team was beaten by 14 and 15-year-old boys. Yeah. And then, but she's such a strong advocate for men playing against women pretending they're trans or saying they're trans. She's such a strong advocate now that she's retired. Yeah. Now she wants the men to play in the league because she's retired. So she's a hero, right?
No skin off her back.
Right.
Kevin on the West Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, morning. How are you guys?
Good.
So my question is, for how many decades did these feminist groups and these women's rights groups fight for Title IX and equal rights for women and everything, even mortgages and whatever? Not a word, not a peep out of a single one of them.
Nope.
Did they get a payoff? Where are they at? I mean,
I don't know.
How many decades did they fight for these? I mean, it's so ridiculous. And when they say follow the science, it seems that their science is what they want their science to be. Because
that's exactly right.
they follow that is actual true science. Climate change, COVID, trans women, it's all BS.
Thanks, Kevin. That's a very good point. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Carol and Moments, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Carol.
Well, hi, good morning. Good morning. All they have to do and should have done from day one, frankly, is to designate it by genetics. You're either XX or XY, period. Now, I know there are genetic aberrations like Klinefelter syndrome and things like that, but that is so incredibly rare. But all you have to do is make it XX or XY. You either make it or not.
And speaking of XX and XY, we're going to have Jennifer Say on at 8 o'clock. Thank you so much for the phone call.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that you don't have to look far. Signature Bank was founded in Chicago with a simple mission to help companies like yours grow, succeed, and thrive. Their decisions are made locally by a terrific team that knows your name, cares about your business, and invests in your success. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. I'm a customer. As business owners, they knew that local, family-owned businesses were not getting the help they needed or deserved. So I invite you to reach out to my friends at Signature Bank today. Write the number down. Remember this phone number, Signature Bank, 773-467-5630, and learn all about this great bank, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
It's tax season. By now, we're all a bit tired of numbers, but here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number, $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed. Save up to 40% in your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. That's LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Men, are you over 40? Are you struggling with low energy? Low T Center's testosterone replacement therapy is the solution. Hey, it's Dan Proft. I want to get you started today. Visit one of Low T Center's conveniently located clinics and get back to feeling your best. This April only, your consultation is free. Treatment is tailor-made just for you, and it's covered by most major insurance. Get treated at one of their centers or from home. Why wait? Book your appointment now at lowtcenter.com. Tell them Dan Proft sent you when you do. That's lowtcenter.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, 60 Minutes owes the Jewish community an apology. But first, body positivity's big fat lie. We'll explain. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 34 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer Newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. President Trump has signed an executive order that aims to revitalize the coal industry in the U.S.
Coal is the single most reliable, durable, secure, and powerful form of energy there is on Earth today.
In a ceremony at the White House Tuesday, Trump says he's ending what he called former President Biden's war on clean coal. He said Biden put thousands of coal miners out of work during his time in office. Chicago leaders are kicking off the 2025 construction season in the city. Crews will be working on a number of projects, including the resurfacing of over 175 miles of residential and arterial streets and replacing 8,000 lead service lines. There'll also be projects at both Chicago airports. As construction activity increases across the city, residents are encouraged to go online and explore the city's interactive map of active and upcoming work in Chicago. Illinois is strengthening its trade relationship with the United Kingdom. Governor Pritzker was joined by British officials yesterday at the state capitol to sign a memorandum of understanding between Illinois and the United Kingdom. Illinois has exported over $2.6 billion in goods to the United Kingdom in 2024, making it the state's 8th largest export partner. News is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get your smile back. Check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
When you need to talk about what's happening today.
Hey, can I talk to you for a second?
There's one place you can come to. The Shawn Thompson Show.
Do it! Do it, I dare you. Do it!
Get in the conversation.
Everybody talks about that show.
Sounds great, doesn't he?
Weekdays starting at 4.
This is easy.
I like his honesty and his frankness. Every day I listen to him, I learn.
He says what's on his mind. He's real.
Best person out there to listen to.
We're combating people who prefer the lie.
He's Shawn Thompson, only on AM 560. The Answer.
Honey, we're not moving, but we gotta do something about this kitchen.
Funny you mention it. I just stopped by Forever Remodeling's new showroom in Niles. I saw over a dozen kitchen and bathroom layouts they designed. They even offered to stop by the house and give us a free in-home design consultation.
What'd you tell them?
That we're free today?
Visit foreverremodeling.com today. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com. Forever Remodeling, stress-free and high-quality remodeling.
Steel walk-behind, zero-turn, and stand-on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, about 15 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Byrne interchange, about 20 minutes. The Eisenhower inbound from the Jane Addams to the Old Post Office, about 27 minutes. The Stevenson inbound from 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 25 minutes. And the Dan Ryan Express lanes inbound from Marquette to the Stevenson, 6 minutes. Traffic is a service of Fox Valley Coins. Bring your gold or silver in store today. Each item is priced right in front of you. The coins never leave your sight. Receive cash or check right on the spot. FoxValleyCoins.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Now, your official weather forecast.
A bit of snow and rain late this morning, otherwise cloudy and breezy with some afternoon rain. Today's high 44. On and off rain for tonight, otherwise mainly cloudy, low 37. And a shower in spots for tomorrow, high 47. I'm Andy Robb on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
right. Good. What's today? Wednesday. Good Wednesday morning.
Miércoles en español.
Oh, why do you break out into the Spanish? Were you raised in a Spanish-speaking household?
No, Polish, if anything. My grandparents are from Poland, and most of my family's from Poland. Most of them are passed away. My mom would call them the Polish Mafia. We'd go from the suburbs to the city to see all of our relatives. She said, "We're going to go see the Polish Mafia."
Right. Well, keep working on your Spanish, and you speak a little Polish too, right?
Yeah, tak.
Oh,
yes.
Thanks. That
Tak
means
is
thanks.
yes.
Well, guess what it is in Swedish? Tak.
Lutfisk.
No, it's the same thing.
Shut up, are you serious?
Tak, yeah, thanks.
Wow.
Interchangeable. All right, so some people, I don't know if you know this about me, Chris. By the way, this is Chris Kroc, who's filling in for Dan today, and Dan will be back tomorrow. And I hope he gives us an update on the Masters and who his favorite player is and who he's going to try and emulate in the future. But I have been known, what's the word, fattest? Somebody who because I've gone off on a lot of people who are overweight, who are on planes, who just took up too many seats and were encroaching on my space. I might have had it happen to my children.
That's terrible.
I almost went into labor early, coming back from a Cubs game from we were in Miami. Mm-hmm. I was 8.5 months pregnant, and there was a rap convention.
Oh boy!
And I sat next to a 400-pound person and a 300-pound person, and I could not. I was having trouble breathing. I was in the middle seat, and I had to get help. They gave me oxygen. They asked if a doctor is on board, and one of the photographers from Channel 2, God bless him, switched seats with me. And then I looked back at him, and he's like, "Thanks a lot," while his arms are like. So that's why we're having our next guest, Body Positivity's Big Fat Lie, Evie Solemn. I'm the name assassinator, just so you know, is joining us. I believe this is her first time, and hopefully she'll come back. But Evie, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Doing great.
Yeah. Based home birth mom, freelance journalist, and author of newsletter The Girl's Guide. And this column is Body Positivity's Big Fat Lie. So what is the Big Fat Lie, Evie?
Well, exactly. And so this particular column you're referring to is a book review of a book called Fat and Unhappy by Tristan Justice and Gina Bontempo. I'm going to encourage all readers to check it out and check out their work. But basically, if you feel like it's really hard to be healthy and to maintain a healthy weight in America, you're not crazy. Companies, even our government are just conspiring feels like a strong word, but if you also read the evidence in this book, you wonder how we got here, that our companies and our government are basically feeding us a lot of lies about nutrition and health. So that's a huge part of, what I love to write about and research and just bring people awareness.
Well, what are some of the lies that they're feeding us?
Well, interestingly, this happened after I wrote this piece, but I think anyone on X.com would have heard about it. A campaign to get influencers to, support the government to keep soda in SNAP. I don't know if your readers were aware of this, but apparently some shady PR group was, literally cashed for tweets to say like, hey, don't, in any way make it harder for people to buy soda with government subsidies, because President Trump loves Diet Coke, as if, those are, equivalent. But so these big companies are scared because people are waking up and realizing, like, if I am looking at an ingredients label and I can't pronounce what I'm looking at, I don't know what I'm looking at, I can't picture what I'm looking at, these are chemicals, these are, synthetic substances, why am I putting it in my body and what effect is that having? So really, last year and this year have been huge years for, anyone in the health and wellness space, just feeling like people are waking up, they're educating themselves, they're putting whole foods, organic foods in their bodies, they're feeling better. And we have a long way to go, but it's really, really encouraging.
And there's an intersection of health, politics, and pop culture here. Can you explain?
Yes. Yeah, no, 100%. All of these, I think Callie Means, who I think a lot of your readers might be fans of, was just pointing out how you turn on the news and you see pharma ads. Basically there's this whole corporate, back channel going on where the media you consume might have, product placements. It's certainly being funded by big pharma ads, whether it's you're watching, a program that's like a comedy or you're watching the news. Like either way, you don't know what kind of messaging you're getting and you don't know what kind of companies you're supporting by giving your eyeballs to these advertisers. But so basically, our pop culture has been feeding us this lie of, toxic body positivity. I think it's good that the authors make a good distinction between toxic body positivity and, the kind of body positivity that was needed, probably starting decades ago when tabloids were exposing celebrities to like horrible slander, on their bodies and things like that. It's not saying, oh, we should just criticize people, but it's saying if you're telling people that being obese is okay, it won't have any negative effects on their life, it's good actually to be, to want to lose weight is, quote, fat phobic. That's a really dangerous message for people and it's going to make their lives worse. So I think that's something a lot of people can agree on.
Evie, it's Chris. So your article talks about Philly FatCon, pro-fat activist, the fat sex therapist. The point of a conference that you're mentioning here was the promotion of far-left activism on social justice, and the organizers placed obesity at the center of it. It makes me think about Trigglypuff, if you know who
Trigglypuff.
Trigglypuff is that.
I've been on the internet long enough. I do know.
Yeah, like
I know. What is Trigglypuff?
That, massively, morbidly 400 or 500 pound obese chick, like 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, and she's shaking and screaming in a class at college, and she's like a little 2-year-old with a tantrum. She's massively obese. She looks like she became a meme because she's so pathetic. But
what was she screaming about in the classroom, or just showing off her fatness, or
some social justice thing or something like that? She's a crazy left-wing activist type of a person, and she's become a meme of the century for like the past 5-10 years. But so it makes me think of her. But I got to ask you this. So how did they, meaning these fat activists and leftists, how do they turn obesity into a left-wing cause? And it reminds me, by the way, of the transgender stuff where it's your self-harm, you're butchering your body, etc., and that's supposed to be great.
Right. Yeah. Well, Tristan Justice is the co-author of this book who was refused the press pass to go to Philly FatCon and just, find out in their own words, what are these activists doing? I think it's part, I think people love to throw around the term cultural narcissism. Right. Whatever is affecting us, we think that's the problem. So a lot of these activists, they're like, we're going to center obesity at the center of social justice. But then the really interesting thing is, encouraging people to give in to junk food or like unhealthy lifestyles is actually something that a lot of these junk food companies, they don't mind promoting that message.
Right.
They find this very convenient. So it was really interesting to follow the money of these, individuals who have big Instagram accounts for no other reason than, they're giving out all of these, anti-fat phobic talking points and just basically getting worked up about every little thing is, quote, fat phobic, but not really offering the people who follow them any resources on how they can make themselves healthier.
So is it difficult to maintain a healthy weight in America, considering all the ultra-processed foods that are available? I know JFK Jr., the HHS secretary, Make America Healthy Again. He's touring Arizona, Utah, and trying to ban ultra-processed foods.
Right. No, this is such a good point. And it's kind of mind-blowing because a lot of people who have been warning about ultra-processed foods, I don't think they ever thought the U.S. was going to be this aggressive, or that, like you said, we'd have an HHS secretary who actually talked about these things. But, in the U.S., we're the land of freedom. We're the land of liberty. And there are so many good things about that. But then we look across the pond and the food is just so much cleaner in places like Europe, and people are, on the whole, healthier. That can be a whole combination of lifestyle reasons. We have to ask ourselves, okay, maybe we do need some more regulations on what can be fed to children at school lunch that's going to actually give them nutrition, give them energy, give them sustainable energy, help them just pay attention in class. And we're just totally missing the mark on that. So I'm really glad that people are rethinking it. Where I live, West Virginia, we're totally rethinking what food diets we're going to allow and, even be feeding to kids at school lunch and school breakfast. So it's really felt like a good tide is turning.
Evie, this is pretty wild in your column. So who's funding the body positivity movement? Dove launches a campaign for, quote, campaign for size freedom. Parent company Unilever, one of the top ice cream manufacturers in the United States, their stamp of approval on this new, quote, social justice spinoff. Okay, that's wow is my reaction. But then also, what are some other ones that you may know about where they're doing this crap to ultimately make more money off people hurting themselves?
Right. Well, the interesting thing is it's not just independent media or right-wing media reporting on this. I think even the New York Times has run features. People love to watch videos about health and nutrition on TikTok and Instagram. Well, it turns out that a lot of those accounts that people like are secretly, bought and paid for. And that's why they're recommending, processed snacks and things like that. And they may not be recommending specific brands, but the people paying them, or the groups paying them are representing these brands. And it's kind of, if everybody's kind of purchasing more from these aisles of processed foods, these companies know they'll get picked out, even if they're not telling an influencer, hey, say people should eat more Oreos. It's like this kind of weird, shady, deals that are going on, but still people are being deceived. They're watching videos for people who are like, I am a registered dietitian or I am a nutritionist, and they're just getting really bad nutritional advice. Even going back decades, our scientific communities have been publishing backwards science on nutrition as if it's real. Like, your body doesn't need fat. Your body definitely needs fat. Your brain needs fat. But people just don't know how to, interpret these results and, implement the good nutritional advice in a way that actually makes their lives better.
So you can't discuss America's obesity problem without the mention of the other O word, Ozempic, Wegovy, injections that go by many different names, and 1 in 8 Americans have tried some form of prescription drug. So pharmaceutical companies are making money off the fact that 40% of Americans are obese.
Yes, exactly. Right. And it's something that it feels like has come out of left field so recently. It feels like Ozempic is now being prescribed to so many people, whether there are probably not more natural ways they could maintain their weight or not. And again, just going back to all the points I've made about this weird intersection of big pharma and big food, and our scientific establishment, people are being put on Ozempic, and doctors don't really believe that people will make lifestyle changes that will help them lose weight. Doctors are probably pushing it on patients more than they need to. In my life, I've known many people who've kind of realized, like, okay, I need to get healthy. And they've had that inner motivation, they've done it. So, doctors don't need to assume that these patients are never going to, make better choices. Sometimes people need a wake-up call, and they need something that's going to actually be sustainable throughout their lifetime. The authors of Fat and Unhappy point out that it's pretty much people are paying money to be on Ozempic, and if they have to go off for whatever reason, they do gain that weight back. Most likely, and just kind of talking about how this is a cycle that really only benefits the companies that are selling these drugs.
Well, do we know any long-term side effects of Ozempic or Wegovy or any of these weight loss drugs, these injections that people are stabbing themselves with?
Well, I don't think they've been around long enough for us to really know long-range results. Right. And I could stand corrected on that. I know they haven't been in the U.S. market very long. But I think, like a lot of drugs on the market, we don't truly know the long-range effects. I think that's a great point.
Evie, the couple things that are interesting here, too. You talk about research from the author of The Big Fat Surprise, Why Butter, Meat, and Cheese Belong in a Healthy Diet. I remember my great-uncle used to say, I can't, because it's cholesterol, I can't eat the skin off the chicken. But I learned a lot from one of my former sponsors as a weight loss place about how to eat right, kind of a keto-based diet, but that is absolutely true, and the skin is okay. Those are healthy fats. We used to say that those kind of fats were bad. You're talking about that too. So that's one thing I wanted to mention along with that. And then also extra virgin olive oil is what I use, and I've been taught that's a good one.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Did you have weight problem? I lost.
I had with concealed carry, I was a size 38 waist. And I got down to 33, but see, once they ended, I went back to my bad waist after 7 years. I was a size 33 with concealed carry, so I was like technically probably 31. But I've gained a lot of it back between losing the sponsorship. It's been 7-8 years, so I'm like, so I'm like,
What are you talking about? What sponsor?
It's a weight loss place that I had.
Okay.
So that's what got me into the healthy stuff that taught me everything and exercise. But I was just trying to say about the extra virgin olive oil I was told was good. You talk about oils. Some of these oils are bad, and the healthy fats. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Right. I mean, seed oils has been like a big buzzword that's, escaped. It's no longer politicized. People on the left and right are realizing we're not sure if seed oils, I'm not going to say they're necessarily because of all our problems, but they're definitely not helping us. So you're right. There's just, people feel overwhelmed because there's so many options. You go in the grocery store and you're like, okay, do I grab this vegetable oil? Do I grab olive oil? Do I cook with butter? I've been told, so many of these things are bad. But, basically going back to the 1950s, Americans have been told, don't cook with fat. You want as low cholesterol as possible. And it turns out there are uses for our body for cholesterol. I'm a breastfeeding mom. My cholesterol goes up when I'm breastfeeding because that's just part of how my body is, taking care of my baby. So these things aren't totally bad. So, grass-fed organic butter, I don't know if you can get a much better, substance to cook your steak in, both taste-wise and for your body. So people are having to relearn what, not even us, but like our grandparents were taught about nutrition, and then they passed down to us. So I think you're right that, even just as simple as what am I going to cook my steak in? People are feeling confused because there's so many mixed messaging. But if you're able to just kind of go back to, okay, what's like a whole food, what's in its most natural form, what doesn't have a bunch of preservatives or artificial flavors or anything like that, I feel like those are good questions people can ask.
And Evie, the problem is grass-fed organic butter, that's expensive.
Yes.
It is.
That's the problem. I mean, if you go into Trader Joe's or to Whole Foods, which we call whole paycheck, it's daunting. I just walk out, or I'll buy one or two things, and that's it. But if times are tight for a week or something, then I just have to go to Aldi or the Jewels.
Totally. And that's why I've been kind of bashing on, Instagram influencers who talk about nutrition. But there are some really good accounts out there who talk to people about, okay, how can we get the healthiest food at the most budget-friendly price? If you're going to want to buy organic vegetables, what are the ones you should prioritize because they're the most likely to absorb those pesticides and pass them on to you? So there are definitely things you can learn to kind of help you figure out, okay, what is going to both work with my wallet and be an investment in my health? And you're right, it's true. Our food system is kind of upside down, when we're subsidizing things like junk food and, soda, but we're not really encouraging people to buy things that are like organic whole foods. It is leaving people kind of wondering, why is this so much more expensive? Is this worth it? And we have to leave it to individuals to decide that. I think people are going to come to different conclusions of what they need at different points in their life. But yeah, no, you make a very good point that, even when it comes to people just looking at their grocery bill, it can be very daunting.
Evie Solheim, thank you so much for joining us. You can follow her on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, Evie, E-V-I-E, Solheim, S-O-L-H-E-I-M, freelance journalist, author of the newsletter, The Girl's Guide. Evie, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
President Trump has made some pretty amazing claims since he's taken his seat as president. He's delivering on what he promised. On Inauguration Day, Trump's very first declaration was,
"The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish."
Consider this. Since the election, gold has shot up hundreds of dollars per ounce, shattering all-time record highs. Fox Valley Coins does not pretend to know the future, but they do know that if you're buying or selling gold or silver, they are the place to do it. These are some of the top reasons people choose a dealer. You want a national dealer with a local presence you can deal with face-to-face. You want a large selection, the best prices, and great service. You want to walk in with cash and walk out with the best product. You want to deal with legacy dealers with integrity. Whether buying or selling or just want valuation, Fox Valley Coins is your answer for choosing a dealer. Visit Fox Valley Coins, 1 light north of I-88 on Route 59 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. FoxValleyCoins.com. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
Oh, I love it. My new Goldilocks security system. I had a technician from Goldilocks come over. He was wonderful. Great guy. Had some wonderful conversation, and he showed me their state-of-the-art smart home security system with HD cameras, motion detectors, smart locks, and mobile notifications. I can't wait when I come home to turn it on and off. And they teach you how to download the app so you could do things remotely, such as adjust your thermostat and check out your Ring camera. When the doorbell rings, you can see who's there. Goldilocks has Google reviews that are incredible. They've been around since 1981. They offer commercial security and systems for any sized business. Tell them Amy Jacobson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months of monitoring for free with any new install. Call them today, 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Again, 708-889-5600, or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Bridget, first-time home buyer, posted this 5-star review about her mortgage experience. Team Hochberg made one of the biggest and nerve-wracking milestones in our life such an enjoyable experience. David and Anna talked us through every step in our home buying journey with a very tight timeline and made us feel comfortable every step of the way. We put in an offer at the beginning of November, and with Team Hochberg's help and expertise, we're able to close on our home by the end of the same month. I couldn't say better things about them and our experience. Team Hochberg all the way. Thank you, Bridget. If you'd like this type of 5-star service on your next mortgage, call Team Hochberg now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That number one more time and that website you love, 855-563-2843, and go to 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
AM 560, The Answer.
Got a lot of text messages about our last segment. Sadly, but this is true, most of my obese friends have died from either diabetes complications or from heart issues. And then somebody else wanted to know what her name was. It's Evie Solheim, and I will text it out, but it's Solheim. So, all right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, Chris is all excited about this story. Too old to drive? A new Illinois bill could give kids the power to take their parents' keys away. Ooh, a little bit of reversal there. Today we're going to have rain and snow. Yikes, a high of only 43 degrees, and then sunshine tomorrow, a high of 50. It's now 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Another shot fired in the trade war. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. As China fights back, adding 50% to its retaliatory tariff on American exports, up to 84% now, responding to the U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods that rose after midnight to 104%.
Until they make a deal with us, that's what it's going to be. I think they'll make a deal at some point. China will. They want to make a deal. They really do. They want to make a deal. They just don't know how to get it started.
President Trump also said last night at a dinner with House Republicans, a lot of countries are wanting to make deals to avoid tariffs that affect about 90 countries. And he just posted on Truth Social moments ago, it's a great time to move your company into the United States. Don't wait. Do it now. Now, another stock sell-off's looming. Dow futures are down more than 600 points on top of a more than 4,000-point plunge the past 4 trading days, while markets also drop again worldwide.
The mood here
at the White House is more upbeat. Staffers are happily carrying out the president's orders without much worry about the markets in the meantime.
Fox's Peter Ducey also reports.
Vulnerable Republican lawmakers are worrying this is putting them in a tough spot, to the point that for the first time in U.S. history, in a congressional hearing, there have been threats made to the U.S. trade rep.
Whose throat do I get to choke if this proves to be wrong?
Well, Senator, you can certainly always talk to me, but
are you at the tip of the spear?
Well, I'm at the tip of the spear for certainly.
That was GOP Senator Tom Tillis sparring with Trade Representative Jamieson Greer at a hearing where Democrats call the Trump tariffs reckless. Back to China, it's pushing back on Ukraine's claim that Chinese soldiers are helping Russia fight the war there.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he believes significantly more Chinese are fighting for Russia than just the 2 soldiers his forces have captured. But China says that claim is totally unfounded.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. New Israeli airstrikes have hit Gaza, targeting Hamas, but Palestinian officials say at least 23 people were killed, most of them women and children. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 35 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer Newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. China says it will take resolute and effective measures to protect its interests in response to steep Trump tariffs. More from Mark Mayfield.
President Trump is imposing tariffs of 104% on Chinese imports. At a news conference today, a spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry said the U.S. continues to abuse tariffs to pressure China, and that China firmly opposes this and will never accept this kind of bullying. The spokesperson said if the U.S. really wants to solve the problem, it should adopt an attitude of equality, respect, and mutual benefit.
Illinois is strengthening its trade relationship with the United Kingdom. Governor Pritzker was joined by British officials yesterday at the Illinois state capitol to sign a memorandum of understanding between Illinois and the United Kingdom.
Illinois is among the top U.S. states for both imports and exports with the United Kingdom, with bilateral trade reaching $5 billion in 2024.
The MOU focuses on advanced manufacturing in the energy, technology, and life sciences sectors. Illinois exported over $2.6 billion in goods to the United Kingdom in 2024, making it the state's 8th largest export partner. News is the service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have a medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get your smile back. Check if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove, and Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest, featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Shawn Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Opum Tax Advocates and attorney Stephen A. Leahy.
Hey, Amy Jacobson here, and OMG, I was absolutely speechless when I saw my new garage floor. Level 10 Coatings did such an amazing job, and now my garage floor shines. Level 10 Coatings specializes in expert garage floor coatings for both residential and commercial spaces. Their floors are durable, easy to maintain, and best of all, done in just 1 day. Hey, if you've been thinking about upgrading your garage floor with that shiny new showroom look, please call my good friends at Level 10 Coatings at 855-510-2628 or book your free consultation online at level10coatings.com. And here's a bonus. Mention me, Amy Jacobson, and you'll get $500 off your project. Call 855-510-2628 or visit level10coatings.com today or call 855-510-2628.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active-duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Michaela's Mobile Spa, Michaela! Michaela got a quick business insurance quote from Progressive and chose from over 30 customizable coverages. Sure, it helps she's her only employee and does literally everything, but while others would rest on their laurels, Michaela was hard at work saving big. So take that, hypothetical other employee who doesn't exist. Be your own Michaela. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
While Dennis Prager is recuperating, we know you miss your daily dose of Dennis. That's why Pragertopia is giving you a special gift. Right now, Pragertopia members can hear the best 2 hours of Dennis's favorite segments from as far back as 2010. On Monday, you can hear the Happiness Hour.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what I'm about.
Tuesday is Celebrity Guest Day.
Donald Trump Jr. is in studio with me.
On Wednesday, it's the Male-Female Hour.
I really do wish there were a way to ascertain the number of marriages that this hour has helped.
Thursday, the Ultimate Issues Hour.
Not having ultimate issues clarity is like having a map, but you don't know where you're going.
And Friday is Open Lines.
Feel free to ask me anything about me, about you, about life.
So if you're missing your daily dose of Dennis, go to Pragertopia.com and hear all your favorite segments, along with lectures, celebrity interviews, his famous Torah teachings, and more. Get your daily dose of Dennis at Pragertopia.com. Pragertopia.com.
Let's take a look at the roads. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 19 minutes. Outbound about 14 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Byrne interchange, 24 minutes. Outbound, it's about 46 minutes. Now on the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, about 34 minutes. Traffic is a service of Air Right Heating and Cooling. Offering AM 560 listeners $56 off of any service, including inspections, or take advantage of limited time federal rebates on a new furnace. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at air-rit.com. Again, that's air-rit.com. From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley.
A bit of snow and rain late this morning, otherwise cloudy and breezy with some afternoon rain. Today's high 44. On and off rain for tonight, otherwise mainly cloudy, low 37. And a shower in spots for tomorrow, high 47. I'm Andy Robb on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good Wednesday morning. Amy Jacobson here. Chris Kroc in for Dan Proft, who will be back here tomorrow morning. God willing, the creek don't rise. He's been at the Masters watching the practice rounds, and I can't wait because, you know, he just loves to open up and talk about his feelings. I can't wait to find out who his favorite player is, what he learned, maybe might change up his swing. Who knows? Have you ever been to the Masters?
No, I have not. But
yeah, it's pricey.
I bet.
And they take your phones. They don't let you walk around with your cell phones. And, it's old school, which I like.
Oh, yeah, they don't want it going off. So,
right.
While Tiger's hitting a birdie or whatever.
Tiger.
I don't know, whatever.
Well, he's invited because once you win the Masters, you're invited back to the Masters, I do believe. But
yeah.
No,
whoever.
He's dating Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. He likes his blondes, all right?
Apparently so. When at the height of that whole thing, there were so many women with Tiger and the escapades. There were so many women that I had to ask my listeners at the time. I said, "Is there anybody out there, women, calling if you have not slept with Tiger?"
Oh, come on.
and unfortunately, there weren't too many women that called, so I was really disturbed.
Okay. Well, he's I got to spend a day with him when he was a young lad here at Jackson Park, offering a clinic to low-income families and kids, and he was lovely. But his dad was all over him. If I was sitting
Terrible.
I've never seen anything like it in my life. What a
How old was
helicopter
he?
dad he was.
That's
He was-
terrible.
I was young. It was in the 90s, late 90s. I had just moved here from Detroit, working at Channel 5 per diem at the time. And we were both young, and we got along great. And he wasn't hitting on me or anything. We were just talking, and it was fun. And his dad would come over and just give you the stink eye. Like, Tiger, that's enough. We need you over here. I mean, he was such a megalomaniac and such a control freak.
Was he in his 20s maybe, or his late teens?
No, he was. I don't know. We were both young back then.
Just like I'm just wondering, was he basically 18? Is his dad micromanaging him as an adult, like a young adult?
No, he was an adult. Yeah,
he
was over the.
That's
over
my
18.
point. That's
Right.
terrible. And it was basically, I gotta ask, maybe was his dad doing all this for himself?
I don't know. I mean, when Tiger was a kid, they would put him on the Tonight Show because he had such a great swing and could hit the ball so far at that young age. Do you remember seeing those videos?
I back in the day, I'm sure I did. I mean, I remember all sorts of things, and I know he's a phenomenon, and I'm grateful that he's on our side as far as politics. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, and he's been through a lot, so I'm glad he's on the. And you know what? He's happy and he's in love again. So good for him. And if it happens to be Trump's, no, they came out to TMZ. They took a picture, put it on social media, and then asked for privacy.
Right.
But they did that. Well, they did that, and people mock them for doing that. But they did it because they were being chased everywhere by the media. Like, is he really dating a Trump?
Trump, yeah.
And he is. So it's all right. Keeping it in the family. All right. So you and I have worked together for a whole 2-3 days now.
We're
but you call me
veteran
constantly and
coworkers.
you email me constantly, which is fine. I'd rather be in the know than not. But you're really passionate about this new law that might help take away your parents' car keys here in Illinois. Do you want to talk about that? We'll take your phone calls, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. We're going to get back to the tariffs talk. Don't you worry when Steve Moore joins us at 7:37 this morning.
Well, I mean, I've seen over the years, we've all seen stories about elderly people who had no business driving. And they will drive through the front of and this isn't attacking elderly people. You and I both have dads in our, mine's around 80-ish. And
80-ish? You don't know how old your dad is?
Well, he's between 78, 79, 80, or 81, one of those three.
Okay.
I know his birthday's January 9th.
Okay, well, you might want to get on. What year was he born? Do you know that?
No, but if you do the math, there's 3 years he was born, one of those three.
Well, my dad is 84. He's going to turn 85 in August, and my mother is about to turn 82 in
Take
May.
away those keys now. I'm just kidding.
No, they're
just
both
kidding.
fine, and they both drive wonderfully.
Well, here's the thing. My whole thing is this: we've seen, the people drive through. You hear stories about somebody who goes through the front of a restaurant or a strip mall, or runs over somebody or kills somebody, and you hear when you read the article that they, he drove back to the garage into the garage. He backed up into the garage one time, or he ran over the mailbox. So the point is, they have a child, an adult child like us, and they know their parents should not be driving, but they do not want to take away the keys. They don't want to deal with the fallout of that. And I have had people calling on the shows I've hosted over the years who have said, I lied to my dad. I took the car battery out. Gee, Dad, I'm sorry, it doesn't start. Or they sold the car and Dad, deal with it. Or they took the keys. But if your parent is not literally able to drive, and you know that as far as the faculties, and you allow them to keep driving because you don't want to offend them or get in a tiff with them, then you are responsible, because this is just like drunken driving if you're impaired. Impaired driving is the same thing as drunken driving. You're impaired. So whether it's a lack of sleep for any one of us, whatever age we are, driving, whether it's intoxication, whether it's somebody who has no business driving anymore because they're like Joe Biden, that is impaired driving. It's no difference to me than drunken driving. And so if you don't take away, I tell you this, one of the things I've said over the years is this. If you hit my wife and you kill my wife, if you run over my child in a stroller, which they're not that age anymore, but you run over somebody's kid with a child, I'm coming for you. I'm going to come for you and take everything I can from you because you could have stopped this. And you didn't because you didn't want to offend or deal with it. Somebody is close in their life. And for me, it's one of my siblings is right by he and his wife and their children are right by my parents. And there's nothing to worry about. I'm with them all the time. If they're listening, they probably are listening right now. There's no problem. But there will be one day for yours or mine. Well, and hopefully they'll just do the right thing. If they won't, then we need to do something.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us. Illinois is one of 5 states that do not allow family members to report issues with an elderly driver. So are they going to be changing that?
If it's House Bill, and I hate to even support any new laws at all, especially in a state like Illinois.
Well, you sound passionate about it.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, if your dad is, first of all, you should have the cojones to take away the keys and do whatever it takes if you're in their life and you see what's going on. If you try, this would give a family member like you or me or my siblings to be able to report driving concerns. That's all. It's your loved one. This isn't turn on your neighbor or whatever. But this is if it's your parents, and I don't know exactly what the family members could be. But so I'm fine with that because if you can't stop taking away the keys or whatever, then yes, you should call. I love my dad, but here's what's going on. He keeps driving. And I'm worried he's going to kill somebody.
What about driving at night? I mean, if they agree not to drive after dark, because that's one half in the bag here. This guy actually that wrote the article from the Illinois Policy Institute that was in the Trib the other day, he says that my dad gave up driving on his own. He had to deal with it after Grandpa drove downhill into a guy's backyard, was confronted and wanted to keep going. Oh my!
Just like a drunken driver. Dad, quote, dealing with it, quote, included fixing the ruts in the guy's backyard to avoid police or insurance involvement. Let me tell you something. You do this crap in my place, I'm going to call the insurance. I'm going to call whatever because when something like that happens, I mean, if it's a small little minor thing, that's one thing. But if you drive through there and you do any damage, I'm not going to.
I got to admit, I did see, she was an elderly driver, female, just got her eyes dilated. And for some reason, thought it was a good idea to drive home. Well, She was near Ashland and Irving, and she spun out of control.
Yeah.
Ran into this young lady and her boyfriend who were coming home from a Cubs game. Mm-hmm. The boyfriend wasn't hit. The girl, her leg was pinned against the wall. And then she backed, and I heard the screaming. So my friend, I was with Josh Quinn. We ran back over there. She backed the car up to get the car off. The woman's like, her foot was dangling. It was so gross. So I took my coat so that she didn't see it because I didn't want her to go into shock. Wow. I mean, she was screaming. She was out of it. It was awful. And the paramedics came. But that woman, she had no business. But it was sunny outside. But still, even if you get your eyes dilated in your 80s and you're driving a car
Same
home.
thing.
Are you nuts? And then in Elk Grove here, a woman, she put her car, she meant to put it in reverse. She put it in drive and went straight through the building.
Yeah.
At a strip mall over here. And then we were talking to her and she was in shock. And she's like, I'm going to back up. I'm like, no, you are not backing up.
You're a drunken driver.
No, you're not even getting out of the car. Because there was glass everywhere and there was hanging steel. And I mean, I just stay in your car. And the Elk Grove police or, fire department, they're right around the corner. Literally, not around the corner. They're a block away, if that. And they were there right away. But she was going to go out in reverse. I'm like, no, you're not.
And you know also that when oftentimes they don't get anything, you get a slap on the wrist or a ticket, and you're in shock. You're in shock because you'll find out these people got 5 tickets over a couple of years because they kept driving. And that is literally like why don't we talk about drunken drivers? Why don't you call an Uber? Why did you have to drive? Oh, because you wanted to drive. You were selfish.
Well, it's
now
the freedom of it. I mean, the freedom. It's
the freedom to kill somebody.
Privilege that they've had their whole lives, and it's something they don't want to give up.
It's a privilege, like you said. It's not a right.
It's not a right. It's a privilege. I learned that from John Howell years ago. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Let's go to David in Winnetka. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, David.
Hey, Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, this is a horrible thing. I mean, this happened with my last time I saw my father in 2019 when he was still alive. He didn't die from a driving thing. However, he very easily could have. And so when I arrived for Thanksgiving, they lived in Albuquerque. My stepmother and I, he was already very sick at the time, and my stepmother and I had a huge World War III blowout because she was always mean to him and getting on him. And I'm like, come on, the guy's sick. Will you leave him alone? And da-da-da. Anyways, after that finally passed and we all calmed down a little, my dad had a huge passion to feed the birds. And he's like, well, I'm going to go feed the birds. Do you want to come along? So I thought, sure, I'll drive. So he held those keys in his clutches like it was gold, and he wouldn't relinquish. So we get in. He's driving in the two opposite lanes over on the left side of a divider. And I'm like, Dad, we can't do this. You're going to kill somebody. So we get back, and that's when the World War IV erupts of the driving. And it's so interesting how they just won't give that up. And I think it's because at that time, when we're not just the privilege and not just this, but I think older people don't want to admit to themselves like, man, this is this is another thing to add to the list of things I can't do anymore. I'm that sick, I can't even drive anymore. So I think it's probably something like that.
And that's selfishness, though. Right? Because you're choosing to put everybody at risk for your selfish desire to be, quote, independent.
Well, Chris, are you going to take yourself off the road when...
I have already taken myself off the road. I will not drive. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the big question.
Are you going to self-govern yourself?
Well, listen, my son and my daughter, just like all of us talking right now and listening, love us. And... What is love? And love. What does somebody who loves somebody does? How do we treat our children when we love them? When they do something wrong, we discipline them. Love is discipline, and in this case, love is saying, "Dad, I'm stopping this from happening because you are a danger to yourself and others, and it is my duty to do that to protect you." You are. It's that old book that shows the dad, the child being reared by the dad, the mom, and then at the end of the book, the mom's being taken care of by the child. Mm-hmm. That's just how life works.
I gave that book to Justin and Bethany for their shower. It's called I Love You Forever.
It's a beautiful book.
Yes, I love that book. So here's, thanks, David, for the phone call. 312-642-5600. Here's the deal. So the legislation would allow family members who had the best line of sight into a person's cognitive state to report those concerns and enable action. Quote, this is from Alexi Janulius, our Secretary of State, either get them tested in a timely manner or take their driving privileges away entirely. So the kids got to be the bad guys.
Well, this author, like I mentioned, for the Illinois Policy Institute, from this editorial in the Trib, he says, and this is where I'm like, yeah, this is BS. Here he says, experts advise, experts, right? Mm-hmm. Experts advise an intermediary, a doctor, a driving examiner, or government. Well, my question is, and maybe it's just me being Mr. Black and White here, but why? Why do I need a third party to do this for me? Now, it might sound like I'm arguing on the surface against this proposed law here, this House bill. But you should not need that. Now, look, where you would need something like this is if you do that and your parents are super sneaky and refuse to do stuff, and you must do something before, then you can do that. You can call and say, hey, this is what's going on.
All right. Sheila in Arlington Heights, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Sheila.
Hi. I just wanted to comment about this, and, a lot of us have been through it with aging parents. Mm-hmm. But in today's political climate, where some kids have disowned their parents because of their political leanings, I think it could be a slippery slope.
Yes.
If a child intervenes and says, hey, take my parents' keys away, just to kind of punish them. So I've been through this with my mom. We didn't have any political issues or anything,
but what happened?
Go to the police. Well, I went to the police and I said, we're concerned about it. And he did suggest reaching out to like a faith-based or someone who has more influence with the mom or some influence with the mom to kind of convince to, give up the keys. But, the overall, and she did eventually, which was good. And it was hard. But I do see a different climate today, especially with the politics involved and how this could become a slippery slope or used as a punishment. And just suggesting that, and leave it up to the professionals who, at the DMV, who test the seniors.
Right.
Leave it up to them to do the passing or the not passing.
So Sheila, at this age, how old was your mom when she stopped driving?
She was 74.
Okay.
And she had health. Hers wasn't so much mental. It wasn't mental. She had a lot of health issues that prevented her from reacting. So if you have to turn or you have to change lanes, and so her health was, and that eventually got her in the end. It was her health issues, but you know, that was an unsafe driving. So it wasn't so much dementia as much as it was health issues. And like you say, drunk driving, you know, you shouldn't be driving. You know, we have Uber, and you know, unfortunately, we didn't have Uber when my mom passed. But
because that's the other thing too. I mean, you know, our folks can call an Uber. And
they're gonna love that.
Well,
they like the freedom of the road.
You have your independence.
Right.
You want to go somewhere, take an Uber. You want to,
Yeah, but I'm just saying, when you get kids involved or people that are not professionals when it comes to evaluating someone driving behind the wheel, making cognitive decisions, and yeah, we love our parents and we love society and we want to protect everyone, but I'm just saying today is a little bit different. As far as, you know, kids that might want to just punish their parents.
Well, what if your parents have a Tesla, you know, and you're a liberal? You have to call. You have to report your parents.
Yeah, you know, I'm just saying there's another side of the fence there where, you know, maybe, and then, you know, and then you're using judgment that is not professional, and maybe what you think is not, you know, really good driving. Man, I see 16-year-olds and 60-year-olds that drive, and they're driving with a mask on. They're driving and changing lanes without using their signal.
Oh, I hate that. Why not just use your? Oh yeah, the masks are everywhere here.
I know it's a mental issue.
I see every day. I see a mask.
Yes, mental illness.
Yeah, so it's not just the elderly. It's you know, it's mental illness, but it's also your judgment against the professionals. And you know, I as hard as it is, you know, if you can't convince your parents through love and care and concern that their dementia is impacting the way they drive, then, you know, hopefully the professionals will be able to.
Okay. Thanks, Sheila, for the phone call.
All right. Yep.
I got a text message. Amy, this reminds me about why I want to die peacefully in my sleep, just like my grandfather did. Not yelling, screaming, and carrying on with other people in the car. That's from the Amish texter.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The world is spiraling out of control. Financial markets are extremely volatile. Global conflicts are escalating and inflation is everywhere. How do you protect yourself when everything's uncertain? The answer is gold. Specifically, the 2025 1-ounce Gold Eagle in flawless NGC MS70 condition from Global Coin. It's a lifeline in these chaotic times. A rock-solid asset that has outperformed for millennia. Call 888-800-1045 right now to lock in this stunning coin for dealer cost. Just $3,199. Free shipping. No sales tax. Secure this tangible asset you can hold today. The first 100 callers get a free MS70 2025 Silver Eagle. 2 U.S. minted legal tender coins to shield you from the storm. Global Coin stands by you with a 30-day return policy because your security matters. Go to globalcoindeal.com or call 888-800-1045 today. They're knowledgeable, professional, and trustworthy. No gimmicks, just incredible coins at incredible prices. 888-800-1045. Call before it's too late.
All right, we got to get through today's rain and snow. And then Friday, Saturday, there's going to be sunshine. But if you're living with chronic pain, it just doesn't matter because you can't get out of your funk and nothing feels good. But here's what you should do so that you can be active again. If you want to golf, if you want to hike, if you want to play tennis, if you just want to get in and out of your car without chronic pain, call our good friends at QC Kinetics. Dr. Ashley Caravelli and the medical pros at QC Kinetics right here in Chicago will help you get the relief you need. They'll see whether or not you're a good candidate for what is called regenerative medicine. They've treated tens of thousands of patients around the country with regenerative treatments that help calm debilitating joint pain in the knees, hips, shoulders, back. With QC Kinetics, the science is solid, folks. They give you your life back without surgery, without drugs, and without any downtime. So live a healthier life free of harmful meds. Curious if you're a candidate for these treatments? No problem. The consultation is free, as I mentioned, with appointments on Saturdays. So call now and find out how easy it is to get back to enjoying life without chronic joint pain. Now's the best time to get started. Call QC Kinetics 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. There's encouraging news from the Supreme Court. Last week, it vacated a temporary restraining order entered by a district court judge in Massachusetts. The order had required the Department of Education to continue paying grants canceled by the Trump administration. The Supreme Court sided with the Trump administration on a 5-4 vote. Notably, Chief Justice Roberts joined the court's liberals. Even so, this result is good news. It signals the Supreme Court is likely to be mindful of taxpayers when DOJ cases come before it. If the Supreme Court allowed judges to second-guess spending and staffing decisions the executive branch makes for federal agencies, then unelected and unaccountable federal judges, not the president, would become the effective rulers of our government's executive branch. This case shows the Supreme Court is serious about safeguarding the Constitution's separation of powers.
AM 560, The Answer.
Getting a lot of text messages on this. The DMV requirements, I forget, but I just got mine renewed without a driving test, and I'm covered to age 82. Yikes. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, the tariffs keep coming, and so does the selling. We'll start there with Stephen Moore, but now into the newsroom we go. Here is Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 35 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Asian markets have been falling fast as President Trump stands fast on steep tariffs on all Chinese imports. Trump's global tariffs went into effect just after midnight, including a Chinese tariff of 104%. 3 major colleges are facing a funding freeze nearing a total of $2 billion by the Trump administration. 2 U.S. officials told the New York Times that over $1 billion of funding for Cornell University and about $790 million for Northwestern have been frozen. Princeton University has also been impacted. Hinsdale Central High School is mourning the passing of a student. School officials sent a letter to families last night stating a current student had died. No further details were released. Counseling will be available at the school. News is a service of Quick Delivery Service. Make Quick Delivery Service your personal ground crew. Anytime, anywhere, any place. When you need to move your shipment or freight, Quick Delivery will get it there. Get a quote in advance and eliminate any surprises at quickdelivery.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Spring is in the air, and that means it's time to check the starting lineup. Leading off for AM 560 every morning at 5, it's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson, followed at 9 by Mike Gallagher. Moving up in the lineup, it's Charlie Kirk, now heard at 11. Then at 2, it's 2 full hours of Hugh Hewitt, followed by Shawn Thompson at 4, Seculo at 7, and rounding out the lineup, Larry Elder at 8. Top to bottom, the best lineup in Chicago radio is right here on AM 560. The Answer. All across the country, states are embracing school choice and offering vouchers to families to send students to whichever school they want, including private Christian schools. Illinois, however, has resisted this trend, despite all the benefits of private education. Well, we have a solution. ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. It's simple. Just visit ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com and tell us which private school you want to send your child to. Then we contact the school on your behalf and work to secure a voucher for half off the first year of tuition, typically saving thousands of dollars for families. The program only applies to new students who are not currently enrolled in the school. So if you've been considering sending your child to a private school and thought it was financially out of reach, go to ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com to learn more and to start the process today. That's ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com.
Spring, a time to get outside, be active, play with the grandkids, enjoy life. But if high blood pressure is holding you back, the sooner you get control of it, the sooner you'll stop being a walking time bomb. High blood pressure is a serious issue. Your blood vessels are constricted, your mortality risk is high. So what can you do besides take medications with side effects? Well, there's a delicious juice that can help bring your numbers back down. It's called 120 Life, and it has natural ingredients that have shown to lower blood pressure. Yes, a superfood juice is showing amazing results for high blood pressure without the side effects of big pharma medication. Try 120 Life risk-free now with a 2-week trial pack. Go to 120life.com and use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping. They're so sure it can lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they'll give your money back if you're not satisfied. Order now. That's 120life.com. Use coupon code 560 at checkout for 15% off.
So, how's the separation going? Are you guys able to work things out?
No. I think we're headed for divorce.
That sucks. Gonna be an expensive legal battle?
Well, no, that's one thing we agree on, actually. Arbitration.
Arbitration? Like mediation?
Sort of, but better. We'll have a firm decision.
Oh, that's easier. Who's your arbitrator?
Bert Hochberg.
That attorney at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck?
Yeah, senior partner. Comes highly recommended.
Are you facing divorce or a family law issue? Burton S. Hochberg offers arbitration services, a dispute resolution process that will save you time, money, and the complexity of litigation. Let Burton hear and resolve your claims with choices that best suit you and yours. To discuss, call Bert directly. Or even better, have your attorney call Bert at 773-255-6150. That's 773-255-6150. Again, 773-255-6150. No one knows arbitration like Bert Hochberg. Why go through a difficult divorce? Call Bert at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck, Chicago's preeminent family law firm since 1981.
Steel, walk behind, zero turn, and stand-on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Let's take a look at the roads. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 19 minutes. Outbound about 14 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Byrne interchange, 24 minutes. Outbound, it's about 46 minutes. Now on the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the old post office, about 34 minutes. This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscriptions ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley.
Now, your official weather forecast.
A bit of snow and rain late this morning, otherwise cloudy and breezy with some afternoon rain. Today's high 44. On and off rain for tonight, otherwise mainly cloudy, low 37. And a shower in spots for tomorrow, high 47. I'm Andy Robb on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Good Wednesday morning. Amy Jacobson here. Chris Kroc in for Dan Proft for one more day here. Thanks for coming in.
Welcome.
Trump's tariffs what countries are in, which ones are out. I know we went over it at the top of the show, but it's pretty fascinating when you think about it, the deals that are going on. And people from Japan and South Korea, I don't know if they're here yet, but they're on their way to negotiate a deal. Reciprocal tariffs or possibly getting rid of tariffs altogether. But this is why Trump's doing it. Excuse me, President Trump.
Reset the table on trade. And when we do, we're going to come out unbelievably well. We're going to have a strong country economically again. And we're going to have those factories that are empty all over the United States. We've lost 90,000 plants and factories. Think of this, 90,000, you wouldn't think it's possible, 90,000 plants and factories since NAFTA.
So who's trying to negotiate? Japan, South Korea, as I mentioned, UK, Switzerland, Colombia, Brazil, Singapore, Malaysia, Turkey, and Australia. Offered concessions already: Vietnam, Taiwan, India, Thailand, Indonesia, Israel. Retaliated are the two. Chris, let's test your memory. Do you remember the two countries that have retaliated against the tariffs?
China and Canada.
Very good.
And what's funny is when asked about the about China and why they're so friendly with you, we played that earlier, the audio. He's like, I don't know why he's so friendly, why he likes me. About G.
Yes. Trump's tariffs. This is because Congress possibly wants to be in charge of dictating or deciding what about tariffs, and Trump said he'd veto that.
In the history of our country, and don't let some of these politicians go around saying, because I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything, sir. And then I'll see some rebel Republican, some guy that wants to grandstand, say, I think that Congress should take over negotiations. Let me tell you, you don't negotiate like I negotiate.
With more on this, let's welcome back to the program our good friend Stephen Moore, noted economist and author of The Trump Economic Miracle and The Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again, a book that he co-authored with Art Laffer. Good morning, Mr. Moore. How are you?
Good morning, Amy. Well, I know that. But good morning, Chris. By the way, I understand Dan is in Augusta right now. I am headed there tomorrow. I'm so excited. I get to go see my first Masters, so that's going to be really cool. But I guess I'm not going to see Dan because is he going to be back tomorrow?
Yes, he was at yesterday's practice round. So tomorrow's still the practice round, right?
Well, that's probably when you get to really see the players. But anyway, look, let's get back to the issue of the day, which is these trade wars that are going on. As you know, Amy and Chris, I'm not a big fan of tariffs. Right. I'm kind of with Dan on this. But, the fact is we are where we are. Arthur Laffer and I had a piece in the Wall Street Journal that got a lot of attention yesterday saying, hey, here's the way out of this. Why doesn't Trump say to any country, we will go to zero on tariffs if you will go to zero on tariffs? And Trump has said that in the past, by the way, Amy. He said, look, he said that at the G7 meeting in 2018. And by the way, the funny thing is all the Europeans and Canada and Japan, they all ran out of that building as fast as they could. There's a lot of hypocrisy going on here. It is true, and Trump is right, that we do have the lowest tariffs, and these other countries have a lot higher tariffs than we do. And all Trump is saying is, look, just lower your tariffs to our level and we got a deal. And they won't do that. So although, if here's the thing, if these other countries start knocking on the door, as Trump is saying, and you get more and more of them doing that, then it becomes like a game of musical chairs. You don't want to be the last one standing that's out on the deal. So I think this is going to put increasing pressure for these countries to ring up Trump, make a deal, and then we move on. Because I think today could be a brutal day for the markets. I hope I'm wrong, but the futures are not good, and this escalation between China and the U.S. is really causing a lot of nervousness among investors.
Yeah, China was retaliating, and Chris, you had mentioned that when Stephen Moore. What's the latest with them?
So, look, first of all, I'm fed up with China. I think we should decouple our economy. I want to start a movement called Sell China. I mean, let's a nation just stop buying stuff from China. And every one of us can do that as conscientious consumers. If you have to pay Amy, are you willing to maybe pay $2 more for shoes to get them from somewhere other than China?
Yeah, because then I could return them. Because you order things online from China, you're not sending that stuff back, people. I can tell you that. There's no return address, okay? It's yours. You own it, or you could give it to Goodwill or re-gift it for a family member.
And some of the stuff is so cheap that even Goodwill won't.
And you wear it once and it falls apart.
Yeah, exactly.
But who's going to want to do those jobs here in America?
Well, that's a good point. But and look, I do believe in the benefits of free trade. I don't like this idea, by the way, that Republicans are saying, oh, it's Wall Street versus Main Street. That's ridiculous. I mean, we're all invested in the stock market. You can't have businesses without you can't have jobs without businesses, and you can't have businesses without making a profit. And so, we have 62% of all American households are in the stock market, and they have their retirement savings there. So we want a strong stock market. And this rhetoric of, oh my gosh, we have to bring the stock market down because somehow that's going to benefit workers is craziness. But we're going to get through this. And look, everything else in Trump's agenda, whether it's the tax cuts, the deregulation. Did you see his meeting, Amy, yesterday with the coal miners?
Yeah, I did.
We're going to mine coal again in America. We have more of it than anybody else. Anybody else. We have the cleanest coal in the world. Let's do it.
I know, and then, suggesting that they're going to be coding or something. No, with the last administration, like, we don't need code. Why don't you guys learn how to code? The miners are like, harumph. They didn't want to do that. But here's your friend Larry Kudlow. He gave me a bit of hope because I'm a panicking. That's right. I've been panicking. I looked at my 401k. Should not have done that. But here's your friend who gave me some hope.
Scott Besson said April, May, June are going to be busy months, okay? If you could get couple 3 deals in the next 3, 4, 5 weeks, I don't know how many weeks, 6 weeks, that's going to trigger a tremendous rally in the stock market.
Whoa.
Because people are going to say, you know what, the Trump people were right. This is exactly how it's playing out. They were treated unfairly. Now with this threat that they're making pays off. Trump is a master negotiator. I don't see it. Frankly, at this point, to me, all this recession talk, it's the greatest recession that never happened. I don't see it. I just don't see it. If the evidence comes in, you know me. If the empirics come in, I'll say yes.
You'll call it. I know.
I don't see any evidence of a recession.
Larry. So basically, we have to be patient for the next 3 months?
Well, and by the way, Larry's one of my best friends. In fact, he was the best man at my wedding, so I love him, and he's a great, great economist. I'm a little bit more worried than he is about a recession. I think, the first quarter, by the way, which ended like a week or two ago, probably going to come in slightly negative, but of course that was just the Biden residual. Now you've got this trade war going on. I could see second quarter maybe being negative, and that would be officially, as you know, 2 straight quarters negative is officially a recession. But I think the main point that Larry is making is correct. That let me put it like this. I'm not saying that the stock market sell-off is done. It may well not be. It probably isn't. What I'm saying is if you buy the stocks today, and Ann Moore and I bought a lot of stocks over the weekend, if you buy stocks today, the blue chips and the technology companies, and you just hold on to them for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you're going to be really happy.
Okay. What about McDonald's, Albertsons, Levi's,
everything,
because they're all American made. I mean, their supply chain is not being taxed
by the way,
facing tariffs.
Amy, you know what other country is almost all made in America, which is very ironic?
Tesla.
And did you see that Peter Navarro said, "Oh, he makes all his cars overseas"? And did you see that Peter Navarro called Elon Musk a car salesman?
Oh, I know. Those two don't like each other, but they have mixed messages. I mean, Elon Musk was saying that he wants a new free trade agreement with Europe to eliminate tariffs on both sides of the pond.
That's what I want. And he's reading. He must have read the piece that left when I wrote. That's exactly what we want. Let's have free trade agreements with all these countries except for one. China. China is not a member of the civilized community.
Okay, sorry for interrupting, but White House Senior Counsel and Trade Advisor Peter Navarro said that's not negotiable. So there's mixed messages coming out of the White House over the weekend.
And that's not unusual. Look, I've been in the Oval Office many times with Trump, and he likes that. He likes to have people. I was on CNN last night, believe it or not, and I was saying, look, Abraham Lincoln, one of our greatest presidents, he had his cabinet was what they called a team of rivals, and said they were always arguing with each other about what to do about the war, what to do about the South, what to do about tariffs and stuff. So this isn't new, and I think it's healthy for a president to have people who argue about the issues, and then Trump, makes the final decision. That's a good way to lead.
Stephen, I'm looking at everything today. The Chinese mocking us with AI, showing obese Americans in a factory being miserable and not being able to do
sewing clothes.
Yeah, sewing.
Yep.
And then they're taking a quote from Ronald Reagan about tariffs and through the Chinese embassy, using it against us as a kind of a propaganda. And to me, one of the things I thought of this morning is, they hate us. They want to own us. They do own us in many ways as of right now, and we must crush them. And so you look at the Panama Canal, their global dominance they're trying to create above us. They're cheating. They're stealing. The tariff situation. Do they own us, quote unquote? And is it time to take them out regarding their dominance and their thievery?
I believe so. Look, what the story of China is very simple. They were, Mao showed that communism makes everyone poor and makes people starve to death. And then they had that 20-year period from like the mid-'80s to around 2005 where they moved aggressively to free markets. Amazing that, their economic ascent. Look, this stuff works. If you have free markets, you get rich. If you have socialism, you get poor. And so then what happened is President Xi came in and he reverted back to the old communist. He's a communist.
Right.
He's not a free market guy. So, my answer to your question is yes, we have to decouple our economy with China. That's why Amy and I have started a new movement called Sell China. Everybody do your patriotic duty.
Hashtag Sell China.
Chris, will you be part of that with us?
Of course. And I'll pay another $5-10 or more for the shoes. And for all sorts of things.
Yeah, me too.
And Stephen, you know that China.
Look for the label, right? When you go buy something, if it says, made in China, just don't buy it. And it may be a little bit more expensive to buy something from somewhere else, but this is your patriotic duty if you love America. Incidentally, Amy and Chris, can you answer this? I know you're supposed to be asking me the questions, but how in the hell is it that we have China on the list of most favored trade nations? Mm-hmm. And they're our least favorite, not our most favorite.
Well, what's going to happen with, all they make every Apple product over in China, unless I have some fake news going on. But, everything, textiles, everything we buy.
They're going to have to move out.
Apple's moving them to India already.
Oh, that's right.
There you go.
Okay,
right. So
but that's not going to, it's not going to happen in the next 3 months.
It's not.
That could take years.
I'm talking to you on an Apple, so I like the Apple, phone, but if things are made in China, we have to start, looking at that union label. And the best thing to do is buy America. But if you're not going to buy America, at least don't buy China.
Right.
Well, what about the EU? They had offered, 0 for 0 tariffs, but they're still not allowing cars to be built. Well,
they haven't offered that. They lied. Here's the other thing about China. This is a very big moment we're going to find out in the next couple of months who's our friends and who is our enemies. How much money we spent over the last 50 years bailing out Europe, trillions of dollars. Now the Europeans say, maybe we'll trade with China and decouple from the U.S. Well, if they do that, screw you guys. We're not going to pay for NATO. We're not going to pay for your defense. Really, seriously, is that the way a friend treats a friend?
No.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's go back to your Masters talk. Who are you going with? Is it tomorrow a practice round? Because don't they start Thursday?
Amy,
I don't know.
Amy,
starts Wednesdays.
Tomorrow's the first day. Thursday. Wait, what is today?
Today's Wednesday. Yeah, you're going tomorrow. So tomorrow it starts in earnest.
Tomorrow's the first day, and then obviously it goes to Sunday. And yes, Scotty Scheffler is going to win, but I do like Rory too. I'm a big Rory McIlroy fan too. So
is that your golfer that you're going to stalk? Because you got to pick a player, unless you sit at a hole the whole time. You got to pick a player and then stalk them the entire 18 holes.
I may try to, because I went to the U.S. Open back in 20 years ago when Rory won at Congressional, which is outside of D.C. And I don't think he's won a tournament major since then. So I'd love to see Rory win because he's getting old. And it's almost like when Tiger won. Remember when he was 45 years old?
Oh, it was magical.
That was magical. So it's going to be a magical one, folks. I just hope we get good weather.
All right. Well, good luck. Have fun. Good luck. Why'd I say good luck? Yeah, I'm going to look for you in the crowd.
Don't get arrested for stalking Rory.
Yeah, I'll be right in front of the azaleas on the 11th hole.
Oh, sounds magical. Enjoy yourself. You deserve it.
All right.
Before you get back in the grind, Stephen Moore, noted economist and author of The Trump Economic Miracle, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, Amy Jacobson here. With the crime we're seeing in Illinois, I know how important it is to keep my home and my family safe. That's why I chose Goldilocks for my home security. One of their awesome technicians just came over and gave me a free assessment of my home. They found vulnerabilities that intruders typically look for and created a personalized plan for me. Goldilocks offers state-of-the-art smart home security systems with HD cameras, motion detectors, smart locks, mobile notifications. As you know, crime in Illinois is out of control, and I'll sleep easier knowing that Goldilocks has my back. They even offer commercial security systems for any size business. Tell them Amy Jacobson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months of monitoring for free with any new install. Call Goldilocks today at 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com. That's GoldilocksInc.com.
Enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock, all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer on Dan and Amy 24/7. Listen now at danandamy247.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank that cares about your business and is invested in your success. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Chris Johnson, CEO of Classic Cinemas and proud customer of Signature Bank. We are a local family-owned business that is known for free refills on all sizes of popcorn, soft drinks, and ices. With over 9,000 heated recliners in 16 locations, we marry the traditions of the past with today's state-of-the-art technology. Throw in a 30-minute guarantee and an after-movie mint, and you have the perfect night out. As we strive to make every guest our priority, Signature Bank does the same with their customers. The team at Signature Bank is interested in taking my company forward. They have all the resources and solutions of the big banks, but they customize their offerings to meet my business needs. The customer always comes first with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
She's gone from reporting on the sidelines to making sense of the headlines. It's the Michelle Tafoya podcast.
The media is trying to lampoon this group. Yes, they are. They're calling them a bunch of 19-year-olds in hoodies. People go to war as soon as they're 18. You're okay with that. But a 19-year-old genius trying to help the Treasury save money? Oh, God forbid.
Subscribe to the Michelle Tafoya podcast today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life. AM 560. The Answer.
All right. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, Jennifer Say joins us. She's former president of the Levi's brand until she publicly opposed the closure of San Francisco public schools at the height of the pandemic, and she's got quite the story to tell. She's now in charge of the XXXY clothing line. Have you met Jennifer Say before, Chris?
I have not, but of course I'm familiar with her, and I love her story, and I love what she's done with it.
Yeah, and she was going to tell us about the woke mob and the executive orders and how so many people are just simply ignoring them and what the consequences are going to be. And speaking of consequences, Northwestern has learned their fate.
Yes.
We'll explain at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. Today, we're going to have rain, snow likely, not a lot of large accumulation, but hunker down. It's now 8 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
China fights back. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News retaliating to new U.S. tariffs that went into effect after midnight.
This escalation is a loser for them.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent tells Fox Business it's unfortunate China does not want to negotiate.
Because they are the worst offenders in the international trading system. They have the most imbalanced economy in the history of the modern world.
Now Fox's Jonathan Savage on what China announced this morning.
Starting tomorrow, all U.S. goods being imported into China will face an 84% tariff. Not far off the 104% levy the Trump administration has slapped on Chinese goods coming into the U.S. Beijing had promised to fight back against the new tariff regime, describing moves in Washington as bullying and saying China's right to develop cannot be deprived.
Now, the tariffs that went into effect don't just affect China. There are about 90 other countries, and President Trump says many want to make deals.
I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my. They are dying to make a deal. Please, sir, make a deal.
But on Wall Street, continued concern about all these tariffs affecting the economy. Dow futures are down more than 600 points after plunging well over 4,000 the past 4 trading days as markets also fall again around the world. There's another hearing today for the ex-Columbia grad student the Trump administration is trying to deport for his role in destructive anti-Israel protests in New York City.
Federal immigration judge Jamie Comans wants to see the Department of Homeland Security's evidence against Mahmoud Khalil. He's being held in a Louisiana ICE detention center, accused of being a pro-Hamas protester on Columbia's campus last year. The federal government plans to deport him, even though he's legally in the country. Khalil claims he's been detained for exercising his free speech rights.
Fox's Gernal Scott. It's up to 98 people dead in the Dominican Republic disaster when a roof fell in a crowded nightclub early yesterday. Singer Ruby Perez among those performing. He was among the killed. America's listening to Fox.
Good morning. It's 37 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560. The Answer Newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. President Trump's new tariffs against China and dozens of other countries are now in effect. Yesterday, the U.S. added an 84% tariff on imports from China after it missed a deadline to lift its retaliatory tariffs. This brings the total levy on Chinese goods to 104%. Meanwhile, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has begun collecting tariffs from more than 80 nations. Wall Street reacted with stock futures dropping around 1% Tuesday evening. Chicago leaders are kicking off the 2025 construction season in the city. Mayor Johnson says work being performed is necessary.
I know that construction season can mean road closures and detours, but I hope our residents know that every inconvenience represents an investment in their community.
Crews will be working on a number of projects, including the resurfacing of over 175 miles of residential and arterial streets. There will also be projects at both Chicago airports. As construction activity increases across the city, residents are encouraged to go online and explore the city's interactive map of active and upcoming work in Chicago. Mayor Johnson is vowing to get an earlier start on the city's next budget. He sent a letter to the aldermen yesterday with a list of scheduled budget-focused meetings starting this month. The mayor and council members have a huge task ahead. Johnson's budget office has predicted budget gaps of $1.12 billion in 2026 and $1.32 billion in 2027. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get your smile back. Check if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes, but now time for the Signature Bank Business Beat.
I'm Susan Lee, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stock futures are falling. Though China has expressed an interest in negotiating, it has responded with its own new tariffs after U.S. reciprocal tariffs took effect overnight, including 104% on China. China retaliated with tariffs of 84% on U.S. goods. Tariff turmoil is now impacting airlines. Delta Airlines is setting aside its upbeat forecast for the year because of uncertainty. The airline is citing broad economic uncertainty around global trade and says growth has largely stalled. Delta's recent quarter was mixed. The airline was predicting this would be its best financial year ever. The Bank of England is warning that rising tariffs are threatening to undermine the stability of the global financial system. The bank's Financial Policy Committee says economic growth is likely to slow. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda, invested in you.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove. And Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. Featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Shawn Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Goldilocks Doors, Locks, and Security.
The fight against abortion in Illinois has never been more important than it is right now. Thanks to our elected officials, Illinois has become an abortion tourism destination. The number of abortions in our state continues to grow, despite the fact that crisis pregnancy centers outnumber abortion clinics almost 3 to 1. Now, thanks to a new effort by Caring Network, it's possible to reach abortion-minded women to provide peace of mind and security to help them choose life. This new Reach Her First initiative seeks to provide women with the assurance and information they need before they choose an abortion. But Caring Network needs your help to reach women who are considering abortion. For a one-time gift of just $150, you can help reach 5 women and help them choose life. That's all it takes to prevent an abortion. To make that gift, just go to 560theanswer.com/caring. That's 560theanswer.com/caring.
Mike Lindell and his employees want to personally thank you for your continued support of MyPillow. They have a big allotment of their bed sheets that were earmarked for the box stores this spring. Well, they did it again. The box stores didn't come through, so they're going to pass the savings on to you. Now there is no middleman, so you're going to get wholesale prices on their famous Giza Dreams and Percale bed sheets. Giza Dream Queen Size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99. King Size, only $79.99. Percale Queen Size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98. King size only $34.98. So go to mypillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201. Free shipping options available. This allotment won't last long. When they're gone, they're gone. So remember, go to mypillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to get these amazing wholesale offers.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active-duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Michaela's Mobile Spa, Michaela! Michaela got a quick business insurance quote from Progressive and chose from over 30 customizable coverages. Sure, it helps she's her only employee and does literally everything, but while others would rest on their laurels, Michaela was hard at work saving big. So take that, hypothetical other employee who doesn't exist. Be your own Michaela. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the roads on the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, about 22 minutes outbound, about 19 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn interchange, about 41 minutes. Outbound, about 35 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the old post office, about 42 minutes. About 36 minutes outbound. Traffic is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get your smile back. Check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley.
Now, your official weather forecast.
A bit of snow and rain late this morning, otherwise cloudy and breezy with some afternoon rain. Today's high 44. On and off rain for tonight, otherwise mainly cloudy, low 37. And a shower in spots for tomorrow, high 47. I'm Andy Robb on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
It keeps happening. Good morning, Amy Jacobson here. Chris Kroc in for Dan Proft. And I'm talking about the Trump administration freezing significant portions of federal funding. This round is affecting Northwestern University. You know, they found out through the New York Times reporting that the president, his administration is pausing almost $800 million in funding for the Evanston-based research university. The federal government has been zeroing in on Northwestern for months, you know, as part of that recent crackdown on alleged, well, I don't say alleged, anti-Semitic action on campuses. They had no-go zones. So if you're Jewish, you couldn't walk on certain parts of the campus as a paying student. Okay, so now they're paying the price for that. So we'll see what happens. One of many, but they keep doing these things. Here, I want to introduce you to Miss Mix Crystal. She's a CPS teacher. MX Crystal with the pronouns. I mean, this is just sick. If this was my kid's teacher, I would take them out of school immediately.
Yes. So, my name is Mix Crystal, like Chex Mix. Can you guys say hi, Mix Crystal? Hi, Mix Crystal. Does anybody know what mix means? There's Mr. and there's Miss. Anybody seen mix before? So, mix basically means I'm non-binary. That means I don't identify as a boy or a girl, which means when you talk about me, which you better not be snap, you're going to say they. Exactly!
My mom told me that if you don't want to be called Mr. or Mrs., you are called a they.
A they, them. So I'm going to ask you guys for example. So I'm going to tell you one. So if you're going to talk about like how like cool I am, you can be like, oh, Crystal is so cool. They have cool glasses and they have black hair and they have a cool little shirt and thrifted jeans. Who can give me an example? Yes. That's so sweet.
Oh, Mix Crystal is
not
very
they
cool.
Crystal, Mix Crystal, but I love that. I love that you said they Crystal. I'll take it, honestly. And that's all. I just want to share with you. So when we are teaching and stuff like that, just call me Mix Crystal, or you can call me Crystal, or you can call me they Crystal if you want. I think that's pretty.
It's a cult.
Let that sink in. Did you hear those cute little innocent voices?
Yeah.
My mommy said that we should use they. I mean, let that sink in. It is so sickening, and it doesn't stop even with President Trump's executive order to, you know, dismantle DEI programs and stopping with the use of these pronouns. And our next guest, Jennifer Say, she did tweet one time, I cannot wait for the day when everyone laughs at the fact that people announce their pronouns. And with that, we welcome back to the program Jennifer Say, former president of the Levi brand until she publicly opposed the closure of San Francisco's public schools. Also a retired member of the U.S. women's gymnastics team and producer of the Emmy-winning film Athlete A. Good morning. And she's an author as well. I could go on and on with your resume, but good morning, Jennifer. How are you?
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. I know it's early out there for you, but what was your reaction when you heard Mix Crystal?
You know, I hadn't heard that before. That's bananas. You know, it makes me think about, you know, here in Colorado, which is where I live, I moved here in 2021 trying to escape the crazy of California. I know you're going to laugh because Colorado is just as crazy at this point. But in my own defense, I moved here because the schools were, in fact, open, and in California they were not. But in Colorado, there is potential legislation coming through. It just sort of passed through to the next level, which would essentially make misgendering and dead naming a hate crime that comes with felony charges. So this this stuff, it's not a game. I know you're not saying it's a game, but it's like, it's not harmless. They've now weaponized it against parents. It would mean that a child could be taken from their home if the parents said, wait a minute, I don't think you are a he. Let's talk about this. That would be considered misgendering, and that child could be taken from the home. So we just have to refuse all of it. We have to say no to all of it. Take your kids out of that school. Don't use the pronouns. Don't do any of it, because it's dystopian what's happening. Really. It seems sort of funny on one level. Mixed, what is that? But you own the language, and you kind of own what people think.
The bill that you're talking about that's going to go to the Senate, I believe, it also requires insurance companies to cover these surgeries. Are you ready for this? Hormone therapy, eyelid surgery, facial skin tightening, chin surgery, facial implants, lip augmentation, breast augmentation, rhinoplasty, which is a nose job, and permanent hair removal. I mean, that is all elective cosmetic surgeries that, if adults want to do that, that's fine. But now part of that bill is making the insurance companies pay to cover those operations. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. If I wanted any of that,
right,
as a woman in my 50s.
Yeah, I'd like a free breast augmentation. Who doesn't want one, huh? Stuff starts sagging sometimes,
Hair removal.
Hair removal.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
It's. I don't even know what to say anymore, Amy. It's so bad, and these kids are being harmed. I'm sure you guys have been looking at, the manifesto that was released by the Nashville shooter. Yeah. And it's just so alarming, because even now, key facts are obscured. If you read the coverage in a mainstream publication like ABC or NBC, they don't even mention. They just, call the shooter by her name. They used to call her by a male name. Now they just call her by her female name. They don't even mention whatever kind of crazy cocktail of drugs this person must have been on, thinking that she was male. This is relevant information. These are not the vulnerable, put upon people that they are described as. This ideology is incredibly harmful. This poor woman was mentally ill, and rather than deal with whatever illness she had, she was prescribed, in all likelihood, some crazy cocktail of medication that made her violent.
Did you see that in 2018 she started writing about this and fantasizing and planning it? She actually was going to go to her original middle school to kill children because that's where she was bullied. She had mapped it out. All this just came out this past week. She mapped it out, all the specific areas, and then she also she went against going after her middle school because it's heavily African American, and she, in the cult of the leftists, did not want to look like a racist.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but I know she talks at length. Talks is a nice, generous way to put whatever ranting she does about how horrible white people are, and how black people are the best, and all white people need to die, and black people should rule everything. I mean, it's just a page out of an ideological leftist handbook in terms of racial ideology, but also gender ideology. She also chose the school she chose because she thought she'd face less resistance because the children were younger.
And it was isolated. She was so just wildly intent and insane on this and meticulous. They said the FBI released what I'm mentioning today. That was released just this past week because Trump's in charge now. So, but she went to that school because it was isolated, so she could kill, maximum kill, and have more time.
Oh my gosh,
it's satanic. To me, it's totally satanic.
It's demonic. I don't know what other word there is to describe it. And to talk about this in the public eye and not talk about what is central to the story, which is this ideology and the fact that this was a woman who claimed to be a man who was undoubtedly taking an insane amount of drugs, is to miss the point entirely.
Now, in your Substack, you wrote about Stephanie Turner, who knelt to stand up for women's sports. Have you talked to her since she did this?
I have.
Okay, and just tell me what I mean. I applauded her and her efforts. And
Yes.
Chris, in case you don't know, she's the fencer who took a knee before she had to compete against a man.
I tweeted that day. So proud. I'm so proud of her.
So
she's really remarkable. I spoke with her for about an hour last Friday. She lives in Philadelphia. She is from Maryland, I think, and this was at the University of Maryland, and she saw the night before that she would be up against a man, and she made this decision that she would not compete. And for those who haven't heard it, I mean, her words are just so dignified and beautiful, and she took a knee and she said, I'm a woman. I came to compete in the women's category. I won't compete. This is a man.
Mm-hmm.
Just so simple and exactly correct. And her opponent leans in and says, what's the problem? And she says, I'm not going to compete against you. You're a man.
Oh, that's what he said.
And then
I saw the video and they were talking for a while.
Right.
Yeah, well, then he got very agitated, supposedly, because the rules from USA Fencing are that this is allowed. So, he's saying, I'm not breaking the rules, which is true. But that doesn't mean she has to compete. She was given a black card by the ref or whatever the person calls it does fencing. And that means she was kicked out of the tournament. She doesn't know if she'll be suspended from USA Fencing now for a longer period of time. She's competing at a very high level. But yeah, I'm really, really proud of her. I think it's quite overwhelming, all the attention that's coming in, both negative and positive. And we just awarded her the brand XXXY Athletics as our Courage Wins champion. So that comes with a monetary award.
Good.
And really, she'll be an endorser for the brand. And we just want her to know, and any athlete that does this, that they're not alone. And they have so many fans and supporters out there. And the very next day, I'm sure you guys saw this, but a disc golfer at a tournament in Nashville did the same thing and walked off the course. She was up against a man who has won $40,000 in prize money in the women's division.
Wow. And and sometimes too, I just think these men are doing, they're not really transitioning. They're just, this is a scam. Which even if they are transitioning, it still might be a scam because it's XXXY. But it really, I mean, when are they going to get the message? So you offer a championship of courage award. So are you helping these women monetarily with, if they forfeit a match?
Yeah, that's the idea. If you stand up or stand down from competing, as often as we can, we select winners of the Courage Wins Award. We're a startup, but we have a fund. People can donate to the fund. xxxyathletics.org is where you can find information out about that. And yeah, we offer money, essentially. The idea is to take the monetary sting out of cancellation.
Right.
And just to let folks know they have support, because they also then become part of our community of athletes. And, a lot of times these women are making these decisions and they're very alone. Stephanie made this decision. She said she prayed on it, and she made this decision on her own. And so it's very easy to feel like you're alone. She's in a liberal city. She's in a liberal family. Like, she herself was a Democrat for many, many years, I think. And so it's easy to feel very alone. And we just want them to not feel alone.
Now, I did wear your XXXY T-shirt to yoga in the city.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of stink. What's a beautiful shirt. I love the fabric. I mean, I love the cotton. It's a great shirt. And I got a stink eye, and I just said, what, you got a problem? And lady just walked away from me.
Come at me, bro.
Thank goodness.
Awesome. Yeah, my husband he does a ton of yoga. I think the yoga community is very into trans stuff. I don't know. I don't do yoga, but he wears it every day and gets a lot of hairy eyeball, as we say.
I wanted to ask you this. To me, and I'm sure you remember the 7th or 8th grade girls with the shot put. I think it was in West Virginia, and they went. They put back their arm like they were going to do it, and they took a knee or kneeled and went. I was so proud of them. And to me, the one thing I've said for some time now is the more of our girls, the more girls that do this, if they all do this, then it'll be over. Because if it's just a guy standing there pretending to be a girl and nobody will compete, it's over. How far do you think we are away from this maybe being happening, where everybody says, screw this, except for a couple people, How close, if we continue to go this way in a good way with these women standing up, how close are we to collapsing? Sometimes things fall pretty quickly, suddenly.
You're right. I think we're so far. I don't want to disappoint you. We need an army of women to do this. I don't think none of the famous professional athletes or Olympic level are going to join us. They're all too afraid. They're cowards. They're afraid of losing endorsement deals. But we don't need them. I just want an army of D1 and D2 and high school and middle school athletes to say no. Apparently there was I think it was a track meet last week in California. Every single girl stood down and the boy ran alone. I want to see more of that.
Yes.
That's exactly what we need. But it needs to happen everywhere. And I think, as you've seen in blue states, it's intensifying. There's more instances in the last 2 months.
I mean, you were there at the White House for when President Trump signed the executive order to protect women's sports, but nothing's changed. And that's pretty much the reason why we wanted to have you on, is because what can we do? I mean, they don't mind being, they don't mind being denied federal funding to help one person who's trans. I don't know what else we could do.
I think we keep doing it. We have to build. This needs to be a movement, not a moment.
Okay.
And I think that's starting, and I think we just keep going. But right now, the Democrat states, the blue states, they're willing to die on this hill. They are willing to give up federal funding, or so it seems. I don't know if they'll stick with that. To die on the hill to let boys beat girls at sports. I mean, what kind of madness is this? That's the civil rights issue as they see it of the day. And I don't know. I don't want to pretend I know what's in their heads. I think there are some that are true believers. I think there are many that just don't want to admit they're wrong. They're obviously out of touch even with their own voters, because 67% of Democrats agree with us. They're going to have to change their tune, but I think it is going to take a very long time. One example, when I first spoke out about abuse in gymnastics, very different subject, right? Very different thing. But the whole sporting community was against me because I was saying bad things about very well-respected coaches. It took 10 years for people to get on board with what I was saying. It took Larry Nassar and going to prison for life. And in 2018, you guys, Congress passed the Safe Sport Act. So it makes every coach a mandatory reporter. We are 7-8 years out from that, and there's a backlog of 4 years of abuse reports into Safe Sport. So these things don't get solved overnight, and I just am hoping to normalize standing up and saying, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to use the pronoun. I'm not going to compete against a boy. Because if all the people who agree with us, which is 80% of Americans, stood up and said that, this would go a whole lot faster.
Yeah. Jennifer, how sick and how selfish are these men who say they're women to be doing this? And is it self-aggrandizement? Is it narcissism? I think that as a child, when we're doing this with the children, which is so sick, I think it's letting them be their own God. I think this is also letting you be your own God, where I will choose my gender. I was not made this way. I'm going to make my own gender. And I think it's parents surrendering to let the child be the parent. And I think it's sick and selfish. What is this, self-aggrandizement, narcissism, mental illness?
I think there's a lot of that. It's like a shortcut to being unique without having to actually develop a personality or any interesting traits. I think being a victim in the culture today gives you points. And so, if you're a well-to-do white kid from the suburbs, and you're a, privileged kid, there's no faster way to being elevated and well-regarded. You say you're trans. I don't think they know this in their heads. I do think that there are some men who say that they're women who really, did you see the guy that just got arrested in Florida for using the women's bathroom? I don't know if you saw that story.
I did not.
It's the law there that you have to use the bathroom that aligns with your sex, and he used the women's bathroom. And it's like he did it. It's like he got off on forcing his way into a place that so there is like an aggression here. I hate to say it, but if there's any such thing as toxic masculinity, this in a sense is it. It's why do you want to make women so uncomfortable? Why do you want to assert your will in this way? It's really toxic. And I think they sort of when I say get off, I don't mean in a sexual way, but it like gives them a sense of power.
Right, exactly. It's winning the game. They think that they're winning.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it is really, really, really twisted. And unfortunately, the culture supports them, and they support them in this delusion, and they medicate them. And we don't know what these medications are doing to people long term. We all know the world is over-medicated right now. Adding these drugs into the mix, it cannot be a good thing for a young person who's suffering from all sorts of, emotional distress.
Right.
So this is, again, I feel like the world is waking up to it. But in the blue states, this is getting legislated. They're not backing away. So we just have a long way to go. We have to reject all of it. It's all twisted.
All right. We're going to have to leave it there. Jennifer Sey, you can follow her on Twitter at Jennifer Sey, S-E-Y. And also you can donate to the Courage of Women Champions and buy her athletic wear at xxxyathletics.org. Did I get that correct, Jennifer?
You did. You absolutely did. Yes.
xxxyathletics.org. Jennifer, always a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thanks for having me, Amy.
Thanks. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
With over 3 decades of serving up streetwise insight and local perspective on Page 2, the voice of John Cass has a home at johncassnews.com. A place where common sense is still served daily.
Listen up. Do you like being treated as a chumbalone, as a fool, sitting on a stool, smiling wanly at the sky?
Don't be a chumbalone and subscribe at johncassnews.com.
I'm John Cass, 40 years a newspaper man in Chicago. I won't name the place, it's just the paper now.
That's the Chicago way.
But I'm asking you to join me so you can get a decent cup of common sense at least. You're not going to get it from the media. It's time that you join the frontier of independent journalism at johncassnews.com.
Don't get caught in the parade of chumbalones.
Traditional media, mainstream media like the paper, they're all in on it. They think you're stupid. You know what they think? They think you're a chumbalone.
Subscribe at johncassnews.com now for only $50 a year and become a member of the No Chumbalone Zone.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, celebrating sobriety, and Ed Morrissey joins us. He's now the managing editor for hotair.com. Ooh, he got a promotion. But now let's step into the newsroom. Here is Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 37 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. President Trump has signed an executive order that aims to revitalize the coal industry in the U.S.
Coal is the single most reliable, durable, secure, and powerful form of energy there is on Earth today.
In a ceremony at the White House Tuesday, Trump says he's ending what he called former President Biden's war on clean coal. He said Biden put thousands of coal miners out of work during his time in office. A concealed license holder is hospitalized after he was wounded in a shootout in Chicago's Pilsen neighborhood. The incident happened early Tuesday morning in the 1100 block of West Cullerton Avenue. Police say the victim was approached by 2 suspects before an argument ensued. The victim, who has a CCL and a FOID card, got into an exchange of gunfire with the 2 men. The victim suffered a leg wound and is listed in good condition. The suspects got into a Lexus and sped from the scene. No one is in custody. News is a service of Low T Center. Men over 40 not feeling like yourself lately, no energy or motivation. Low T Center's testosterone therapy is the solution. This April, the consultation's free. Treatment's covered by most major insurance. Find a clinic near you or get treated from home and get back to feeling your best today. Book now at lowtcenter.com. A Check the Road's coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove. And Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. Featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Shawn Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Liberty Cigar Company.
Have you seen our energy bill?
You'd think Elon used our furnace to power his rocket ships.
Very funny, babe. That furnace is 20 years old and probably hasn't been cleaned in 10.
I'll have Air Right Heating and Cooling check it out. They've seen it all. Plus, there's still time to take advantage of federal rebates. They even give AM 560 listeners $56 off any service.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at air-rite.com. That's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
Living with chronic joint pain is like trying to get comfortable on a cactus sofa. Ouch! Nothing feels good. And forget trying to do the things you enjoy this spring, like golfing, hiking, tennis. Hi, Amy Jacobson here, and I want you to know something. Dr. Ashley Caravelli and the medical pros at QC Kinetics here in Chicago are on the case. I spoke to my friend in Utah who had regenerative medicine with QC Kinetics, and now she does not need that right hip replacement. Seriously, listen up. If you have joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, back, with QC Kinetics, the science is solid. They give you back your life without surgery, without drugs, and without any downtime. If you're curious if you're a candidate for these treatments, no problem. The consultation is free with appointments on Saturdays. Now's the best time to get started. Call QC Kinetics at 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. QC Kinetics.
That shot was money, Lisa. Hey, speaking of, did you ever figure out what to do with your parents' old coin collection?
Not yet. I need a reputable dealer to appraise them. I have no clue what they're worth.
I just finished working on my dad's estate collections. I took it all to Fox Valley Coins. Their customer service was the best. Plus, they're super honest and reputable, but most importantly, experienced. They'll give you the best prices.
Really? They handle estate collections?
Absolutely. Buying, selling, appraising, they do it all. It was quick and simple, and we maintained our privacy. Fox Valley Coins made the whole process easy.
That's exactly what I need. Are they local?
Right in Naperville. They have an easy website to remember. FoxValleyCoins.com.
Perfect. Now let's see if you can return this shot.
Whether buying or selling or just want valuation, Fox Valley Coins is your trusted gold and silver dealer. Visit Fox Valley Coins, 1 light north of I-88 on Route 59 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. FoxValleyCoins.com. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Wealth Health Radio with Joe Murphy, Sundays, noon to 1. Learn more online at mwmfinancial.tax.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the roads on the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 20 minutes, outbound 16 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Byrne interchange, 42 minutes, outbound 49 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the old post office, 47 minutes, outbound 33 minutes. And on the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 34 minutes. This report is sponsored by Bank of America. What if your business could see beyond what is and into what could be? Whether you're a local shop or global enterprise, Bank of America gives you access to a range of business solutions to help you make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley.
Now, your official weather forecast.
A bit of snow and rain late this morning, otherwise cloudy and breezy with some afternoon rain. Today's high 44. On and off rain for tonight, otherwise mainly cloudy, low 37. And a shower in spots for tomorrow, high 47. I'm Andy Robb on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Rocking and rolling this Wednesday morning. Hi, Amy Jacobson here. Chris Crock.
Absolutely love this song.
In for Dan Proft, and apparently our guest co-host loves this song. What's it called, Chris?
Dance All Days.
By?
Don't say anything. Wang Chung.
Ah, yes. Very good.
And
very good.
they came to our high school, Wheeling High School, where it was a contest for, I'm not kidding you, Baby Ruth rappers, whoever sends in the most Baby Ruth rappers. And so we did, and we won the concert with Wang Chung. I got towards the very front, was getting smashed.
Uh-huh.
And it was a riot. It was incredible in the field house there in Wheeling High School.
Oh, that is great. So you had how many rappers, Baby Ruth rappers?
I don't
did you
know.
Have to hand in?
All I know
Collectively
is
as a school, you had to.
I don't know how many, but we won, and I also know that I contributed one or two.
Oh, that is hysterical.
Yeah.
Were there District 214 schools competing?
Probably, I think it was a countrywide thing is my guess.
Uh-huh.
And I remember my older brother was in the school with me at the time. He was 2 years older than me, so it was that would have been like 89?
Okay.
88 or 89. I think it had to be 89. I don't know.
I was gone by then. I was gone in 87.
You were gone.
Yeah.
You were in Iowa.
Yes, self-absorbed college student. No, just kidding. I don't know if anybody's dancing with the stock markets. I don't even want to look. I don't want to know because I looked and I became a panicked, right? A panikin?
A panikin.
That's what he calls it. With more on this and everything going on in the world, let's welcome back to the program Ed Morrissey, managing editor for hotair.com. Good morning, Ed. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Great to be with you.
I bet you're keeping busy, huh?
It's always been it's been a slow news cycle for the last couple of months. I don't know what to say. Nothing to write about.
No,
I'm going to write a 1,000-word essay on dance hall days, though. I am absolutely going to do that.
That's funny. Okay, so let's start with tariffs and China. There doesn't seem to be any movement. We've had movement with people from Japan and South Korea are on their way here to negotiate tariffs with Trump. We already made deals with Israel and a number of countries, Vietnam, Taiwan. So what do you think is going to happen if you could look into your crystal ball with China?
Well, I think that this is really mostly aimed at China anyway. So I think this is exactly what Trump wants. He wants to force American manufacturers to relocate out of China and really probably out of the whole Eastern Rim there, because even relocating to places like Vietnam and Thailand hasn't really worked because what's happening is that most of the parts are still coming from China. And that's part of the cheating that Donald Trump's been talking about. But what he wants to put China on an economic back foot here. And that part of the tariff thing makes a lot of sense to me. I'm not a panican. I'm looking at the stock market. I'm lightly invested in there because of 401ks and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not a trader, so I'm not on it every day. But, there's two ways to lose money in the stock market, either by buying or selling. And if you're not doing either one of those two things, you're really not losing money yet. And I think that people need to not be looking at this thing on a day-to-day basis to make a decision on what is a long-term strategy. That being said, I'm still a skeptic on tariffs. I think that most of the people that we want on our side to combat China's economic influence, we might be alienating a little bit through these policies. So I'm hoping that in some ways they're going to be looking for negotiations with places like the EU and Vietnam, I think especially, if they can close down that China rehoming loop. But I'm not sure that there's really that big of a plan here. I think there are people in the Trump administration who think that they can replace the income tax with tariffs. And that's fine if you replace the income tax right up front. I mean, right now it just doesn't seem like they have a coherent strategy on this, and I think that that's part of what's making the market so nervous.
Right, because there was mixed messages coming out of the White House, with Elon Musk and Peter Navarro, both on different pages about tariffs, saying, we'll zero out tariffs with the EU on the other side of the pond, and then Navarro saying, no, we're not negotiating this. So it was a bit of a mixed, muddled message. Some other things that happen: the SCOTUS pauses a judge's order to rehire 16,000 federal employees. What's going on there?
Not much. I mean, less than
what it sounds. Is this a win, or what is it?
It's not even really much. It's mostly just a procedural pause. And first off, this is just, it's literally just a pause. Okay. And because there's another injunction in place out of Maryland that covers, I think, at least a good part of the same number of people. And this particular order is only talking about a subset of the people that were on the San Francisco TRO. I don't know how many of these people are not going to be brought back in. I think that right now it looks like a good portion of them are not impacted by the Supreme Court decision yesterday. And I think that this is sort of like looking at the stock market, right? You get an order from John Roberts and everybody goes, yay, it's a big win. When it doesn't really change things very much because the Supreme Court is treating these things very narrowly and really only in terms of procedure. And the same thing was true with what Pam Bondi said with the deportations, the Supreme Court action that was taken on deportations. All that really did was say you have to allow these people to have a habeas action if they want to put a habeas action forward, and it has to be in the venue where they're being currently held rather than in Washington, D.C. That's not really much of a win. It's not a loss, but it's not really much of a win because those habeas actions, they can still challenge the Alien Enemies Act application in these habeas actions, and a federal court in Texas, which is where they're being held, could rule that it doesn't apply outside of a declared war. And so nothing much has really changed in either of those instances, and I think it's one of those things where you have to wait and see.
So I wanted to ask you his name is eluding me right now. The lawyer who is on Fox News all the time. What's his name for the Jonathan Turley?
Turley, yeah.
So Turley was saying that he does not think the habeas corpus issue, bringing them down and having them in front of the judge before deportation is going to stop. He thinks they'll get a cursory hearing and they'll still be out of here.
Right. Yes.
So
I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay. So the good news is they will be getting don't let the door hit you in the arse, get out of here, which is good, right? But we have these district judges, as you know, which are a massive problem. They're trying to get their, you even had Elena Kagan, I think it was, saying that it was wrong that they were ruling outside of their district for things that were nationwide. So what's the solution? Is Congress going to make them, I've heard one of the proposals would be to make them not be able to do a countrywide ruling, just a district ruling? Is it to defund them, like others have thought about? What's the solution here?
Well, there's two ways that you can do this, right? Because the Constitution vests the judicial branch authority in the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court can set rules. And they can do it two different ways. One is they can just promulgate rules that instruct district courts that they can't issue injunctions that apply outside their districts. Now, districts are large, right? I mean, there's I think 3 districts in California, for instance. I think there's a southern, central, and northern. I think there's 2 in New York. I mean, so districts are large. There's large footprints, but they're limited. So they could promulgate a rule that does that. They could reach a decision on one of these cases that explicitly says that district courts can't rule outside of it can't apply outside of their own district, and they have yet to do that. Now, they're going to have plenty of opportunities to do that in the next few weeks. They've already had opportunities to do that. They haven't taken that step yet. And then Congress could pass a law which requires that district court decisions only apply within the district that they're promulgated in. So there's a few different ways that you can approach that, but clearly I think both sides now are doing judge shopping on an industrial basis, and it's bad. It's corrosive to the idea of justice and jurisdiction, and either Congress or the Supreme Court is going to have to address that, and probably sooner rather than later.
I wanted to ask you, going back to China, they're considering, as a form of punishment, banning U.S. movies over the Trump tariffs.
Yeah,
I had no idea Minecraft did so well in China, grossing $140 million.
I think it grossed 140 overall globally, but I don't think it was all in China. But okay. But I mean, one interesting note on that is that Snow White only grossed 1.2 million in 3 weeks. They only got 1.2 million out of China.
Oh my gosh!
So Disney. That story is just the laugh. It's a laugh factory that keeps on pumping out the product. But I actually think that'd be better for Hollywood, because then they would stop writing movies to suck up to the CCP, which is what they do. I mean,
right. When we were kids, the enemy was always the Chinese. Now it's always Russians.
Well,
or people from Belarus or Romania.
Yeah, or Americans, right?
Right.
I mean,
right, Republicans.
The Martian is a great example of this, right?
Okay.
It's a very good movie, right? Have you ever seen The Martian with Matt Damon?
I have not. Oh no, wait, I did see The Martian. Yes, I did. I guess I did.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's good.
It's very good. But you notice that the Americans fail to rescue him, and they have to go to the Chinese, who then decide that they're going to altruistically unveil this secret rocket program because it's just the right thing to do in order to rescue the poor American off of Mars. They write these things. They write these movies to make the Chinese look good. 2012 was an even more absurd example of that. It's just because 2012 was a terrible movie. It's one of the best. It's one of the most fun bad movies you'll ever watch.
Really?
2012. Oh,
okay.
It is so bad.
What was the premise of that movie?
That was the Mayan calendar. You remember the whole thing that the Mayan calendar was predicting?
Yes, the end of times.
The end of times,
Yep.
yeah. And so it turns, I think it was Roland Emmerich did that movie. And again, it's the Chinese that save humanity by building the big boats. And I mean, it's just, they write movies to cater to Chinese audiences, and really to cater to the Chinese Communist Party in order to access the market there. And so, as far as I'm concerned, if China starts blocking Hollywood movies, it might be the best thing to happen to Hollywood in a long time, because they'll stop writing these things to suck up to the Chinese Communist Party. I'll be very happy if that happens. But so far, they haven't done that. It's probably because China doesn't really produce very good films on its own.
But let's talk about Snow White, though, because you did write an article, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, who's the fairest film of all. I feel bad for the production staff. I feel bad for people in hair and makeup and costume design and the editors, people that are not woke, like this actress was, who completely destroyed the film pretty much before it even came out.
Yes.
Yeah, first off, a lot of those people who were working on this film have already been paid, right? And I mean, so the problem is that when films lose hundreds of millions of dollars of money, there's films that won't get made because the investment money won't be there. So it's the craft services people, it's the crew people, it's the other secondary industries around the entertainment industry in Hollywood that are going to suffer for that. And yes, I mean, I think, and that was the point of the son of one of the producers who went public on, I believe it was Twitter,
that's right,
blasting Rachel Zegler because she's damaging a lot of other people's livelihoods by shooting her mouth off about stuff that had nothing to do with the film. And I struggle to blame this all on Rachel Zegler, because this film was written for that purpose in mind, right? I mean, it was written to be a socialist rethinking of Snow White, in which the fairest meant the most redistributive of them all. And they cast her in that role, and she was very enthusiastic about that. And she's, at the time, I think when she started shooting off her mouth, she was 21. I think she's 23 now. I mean, I wouldn't say she's a kid. She made, she's obviously getting, $1 million paychecks, or maybe more than that, for this. But she's part of a culture that produces this dreck, right?
Well, did you see the movie?
No.
Well, you wrote an article and you didn't see the movie.
I did. I never reviewed the movie.
I know. You were.
Yeah.
Does one need to see it?
No, I mean, I kind of want to see it, but
you should.
They're computer-generated dwarfs, which makes me mad.
Well, I mean, if you look at the trailer itself, I mean, the CGI is so poorly done, it's hard to believe it's Disney. I would say that Who Framed Roger Rabbit does a better overlay of animation on live action than what I saw in those trailers. And from other reviews, what the other critics are saying is that it looks terrible.
Right. Did you guys hear that the live action movie Tangled has been canceled, put on hold, canceled because of this? And they had a script written, they had a director, and they literally killed it because of this.
Yeah, they have a live action Lilo and Stitch that's already done. It's going to come out later this year, and I think that Disney's looking at this, and because that live action remakes of animated films is the profits have gone down significantly over time on that, and I think Disney's realizing that this is not a sustainable strategy. But I love Tangled. I love the original Tangled, which was what I saw it with my granddaughter, so maybe 10 years ago. I'm just guessing off the top of my head, maybe a little bit longer ago than that. I thought it was a beautiful film, really well done. But I can't imagine doing that in live action. And you need actually less animation, maybe just the hair. Everything else, I think, I don't recall there being a tremendous amount of magical elements other than the hair and Mother Gothel. So I don't know that you'd need a bunch of CGI for that. But yeah, I mean, what's the point of doing live action remakes anyway, other than to just cash in on an IP by simply copying it? It's kind of an empty exercise, and they don't do it well. It looks weird.
All right. So Ed Morrissey, what are you working on for today? Anything you'd like to tease?
Sure. I don't know if you noticed this or heard about this yet, but New Mexico's Democrat Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham has called out the National Guard to deal with the fentanyl crisis.
Oh, so she's just catching on to this?
Suddenly.
Yeah, but you won't believe she's deploying the National Guard to deal with this. So stay tuned on that. That's coming up at Hot Air a little bit later.
Oh, God, it's such a tease. So hotair.com, Ed Morrissey, now managing editor for hotair.com. Congratulations on your promotion.
Appreciate it.
And you can follow him on social media at Ed Morrissey. Ed, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
It's tax season. By now, we're all a bit tired of numbers, but here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number, $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed. Save up to 40% in your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. That's LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
The fight against abortion in Illinois has never been more important than it is right now. Thanks to our elected officials, Illinois has become an abortion tourism destination. The number of abortions in our state continues to grow, despite the fact that crisis pregnancy centers outnumber abortion clinics almost 3-1. Now, thanks to a new effort by Caring Network, it's possible to reach abortion-minded women to provide peace of mind and security to help them choose life. This new Reach Her First initiative seeks to provide women with the assurance and information they need before they choose an abortion. But Caring Network needs your help to reach women who are considering abortion. For a one-time gift of just $150, you can help reach 5 women and help them choose life. That's all it takes to prevent an abortion. To make that gift, just go to 560theanswer.com/caring. That's 560theanswer.com/caring.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Men, are you over 40? Are you struggling with low energy? Low T Center's testosterone replacement therapy is the solution. Hey, it's Dan Proft. I want to get you started today. Visit one of Low T Center's conveniently located clinics and get back to feeling your best. This April only, your consultation is free. Treatment is tailor-made just for you, and it's covered by most major insurance. Get treated at one of their centers or from home. Why wait? Book your appointment now at lowtcenter.com. Tell them Dan Proft sent you when you do. That's lowtcenter.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, quickly, remember during the RNC when J.D. Vance was celebrating his mom's sobriety, and he had a suggestion for President Trump.
It'll be 10 years officially in January of 2025, and if President Trump's okay with it, let's have the celebration in the White House.
And guess what, Chris? They did it. They celebrated her 10 year of being sober. J.D. Vance's mom, they gave the 10-year medallion to her at the White House in a ceremony on Friday. So good for them.
It was a beautiful, beautiful.
And if you
moment.
watched Hillbillyology, wow. The fact that his mom is sober and a functioning member of society, God does work his magic. All right, thank you so much for making us your part of your morning. Thanks to Justin Kosick, Quinn McCarthy, and thanks to you, Chris.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Enjoy your day. It's now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
More stock market losses. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. As the trade war escalates, with China boosting its tariff on American goods up to 84%, in retaliation to U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports that went up today to 104%. The Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent tells Fox Business.
They are the surplus country that their exports to the U.S. are 5 times our exports to China. So they can raise their tariffs, but so what?
Bessent also says the economy is still in pretty good shape. But right after Bessent was on Fox Business, J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon came on, and Grady Trimble reports.
This is one of those rare interviews that can move markets. Dimon says President Trump's tariffs will raise prices and slow economic growth. He says a recession is a likely outcome of them, but nothing like the Great Recession.
It's serious, and it was serious before the last election. We have a huge, complex geopolitical situation, huge fiscal deficits, not just here, but around the world, sticky inflation, which I personally think will not go away so quick.
Now, the market was down. It's turned around in the last few minutes. The Dow gaining 324 points after a 4,500-point plunge the last 4 trading days. President Trump just posted on Truth Social, "Be cool. Everything's going to work out well," and he said it's a great time to buy. He maintains dozens of countries hit by tariffs are coming forward to negotiate deals. Another immigrant here illegally is jailed without bail. He'd been a youth soccer coach in California. Now he's an accused killer.
The LA County DA has charged 43-year-old Mario Edgardo Garcia Aquino with murder and a special allegation of murder during the commission of lewd acts with a child, making him eligible for the death penalty if convicted. Now, police say he killed one of his own soccer players, Oscar Omar Hernandez, who took a train to visit him at his home north of LA on March 28th, but he never returned.
That's Fox's Bill Maluzhin in Los Angeles. In the Dominican Republic, it's now 113 deaths in the nightclub roof to collapse. America's listening.
Good morning. It's 32 degrees in Chicago at 9:02 in the AM 560 The Answer Newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. American cattle ranchers are lining up behind President Trump's tariffs on beef. Steve Lucci is a fifth-generation cattle rancher out of Illinois.
We have to deal with a little bit of pain to have some gain, right? And I think we're going to have to just do that. I don't think any of us know what's going to happen with these tariffs, but what we do know for a fact is that the American beef industry has been on the short end for a long time.
Lucci says a lot of countries have been imposing tariff and non-tariff trade barriers on American beef for years. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association says President Trump is taking action to address numerous trade barriers that prevent